Good evening, welcome to Drawing the Owl, episode 12, I think, second playtest. I have with me four wonderful people. I have Robert, Jen, Darren, and Christo. They're going to introduce themselves and their characters in just a second. We have done all our safety stuff off screen. We've done all our cuts and explanations off screen. We are starting with cool character shit. So, leading us off, Robert, which color were you? You were right at the start.
Blue.
You're blue. Robert, why don't you take us through? Do you have a name for your character at this point?
I think he's just going to go by his nickname of Sperry.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about them.
So Sperry is kind of, I think he like the rest of his family got away successfully. And so he was the one left behind, and he's just kind of like scrounging and doing everything he can to get away. So he's kind of playing sort of hard. He is not, he's going to throw down if he has to, because he really just wants to get out of this place. And at the same time, like his family was always training or kind of like bringing him up to be like a writer. Like he's always been a creative person, so he's always been into like writing and doing art and stuff like that, but now he's he can't do that in this zone.
Dope. I love that. Are you is there someone in particular you're trying to get out of the city to chase down?
Mostly his little brother. Like he always felt like his little brother was everything that his family wanted him to be, but +2. Like his little brother was always the better writer. His little brother was always the better artist. So he's kind of just like, I need to go out and get back to him and mentor him.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love the character that's like willing to throw down for something. That's cool. Does anyone have any questions for Sperry at this point?
Do you still have your Sperries, or have they gotten beaten up that you've had to like toss them out for whatever other shoes?
I think I still have them, but I only wear them on very special occasions.
Good.
I know, obviously, but for people who are watching that might not know, what are Sperries? Is this? Oh, they're like boat shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
It's a specific brand, though, in America that is very iconic for a certain kind of person.
Yes.
They're also
cool.
basically indestructible. They last forever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nice. That is perfect. Sperry's going to and boat shoes.
So they're perfect for a war zone because they last forever.
Yeah, and they're great on slick surfaces is the other thing that they're known for.
That's awesome. I have so many questions at this point. Jen, why don't you take us? Why don't you take us through your character?
All right, I'm playing Smidge. They go by they, them pronouns. And basically, Smidge is like a penitent coward. Smidge feels like they should have sort of, like the fact that they've escaped the first wave is kind of a personal failure, and they're making up for it by sort of like trying to focus their efforts on like emotional care for people, and like this is the best way I can help out because clearly I'm not good at the action stuff. So, and so they have a tendency to be judgmental in a sort of the most to themselves, but as much to judgmental to others, but even more themselves.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Judgmental of themselves. That's awesome. I love that so much. Tell me about your older sister.
So I'm basically thinking my older sister is sort of a more of an activist than Smidge is. That she's sort of my image of like what I should be more. Someone who has we're in separate places because she's been so active.
That's really interesting. And so, like, the activist got out of the war and has left the city, and the other sisters, like, or the other siblings, like, stuck in there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super on board for that. Sorry, any questions for Smitch?
Did you say you like wanted to get into activism and get involved with that, or you were involved with it, or?
I feel like I should have, but didn't, out of mostly terror.
Sure. Cool.
Oh, that's really interesting. Darren, do you want to tell us about Micah?
I'd love to. So Micah, I am picturing Micah as 15 years old, and I'm going to go ahead and bring his assertive grandmother into it at the beginning because she's the one who raised him. So that's why he wants to get back to her and make sure she's okay, because it's kind of that relationship where like they've had to take care of each other because she's a grandmother and it's like elderly. But anyway, aside from all that, Micah, because he's kind of grown up on his own, except for like at home, he's always had to like take care of himself at school or in the neighborhood or whatever. So he kind of has that attitude about, or he kind of projects that attitude about like being kind of a hard ass. But then like you step into his room and he's like super meticulous. Everything's in its place. So he really likes things organized, and it's probably more about control. Like this is the only way he can feel control in his life, because like it's kind of not been normal from the beginning, and now here we are in a war zone.
You sound incredibly put together.
Huh?
You sound really put together. You sound like you had your life sorted before this all happened.
Oh, wait, Micah? I don't think so. I think he projected that, right? Because his life felt like not great.
Yeah.
So he was trying.
So you mentioned that faithful to you means more of that loyalty side of thing, which I love. Your move does mention rituals, though. What kind of like ritualism are you expecting to see from Micah?
So I was thinking, painting it like a loyalty thing. These like connections and these people are important to him, and how they can and how he can rely on other people. And so that means for him putting himself up like that so people can rely on him. So I think those rituals are like, there's all these like cliques before in school, and he had like certain responsibilities to some. So like Saturdays, it was like the basketball game at the neighborhood court. Like Mondays, it was like getting to the parking lot early and like hanging out with those friends. And then like after school on Tuesdays, like everything was regimented in that way. So I think what that looks like now after all of this is that he will probably try to pull everyone into a basketball game at some point. And he'll be very excited about a party.
I'm super on board for this. Anyone have any questions for Micah? Oh, all right. I'll roll into Christo. Tell me about Kim.
Hakim, or Hack, as people call him, he's lithe, he's creative, and they think of him as reckless. He does parkour, and he's a tagger, or he has been. So that's part of how he's viewed as reckless, because he still does it. What's driving him to get out of the city is that his best friend is outside of the city, and he's worried about him because he's sort of nerdy and he thinks he's not going to survive. And of course, his best friend probably thinks the same thing about him, but that's a story for a different time. Anything else to add to him at this point? Don't think so. I mean, he thinks of himself as a creative type, so I think he'll get along with, who is it? I have to scroll over, with Sperry. How could I forget Sperry? And I was thinking, oh, and his stuff is bare because he pretty much carries everything with him. He's like always ready to bug out. And so that's why there's basically nothing there except maybe like paint on the walls.
Oh, sweet. I love that. So, man, what do I want to ask you about? There's so much good stuff in there. What does, man, tell me more about your look. I think I get everything else really strong. What does Hack look like? You're muted. Sorry, Christo.
Sorry, I was trying to find a good image. Let's see, where did I put it? I've had one. So I was choosing between two. So maybe the group can choose if I can find it and pull it up. Hold on just a second. Where'd he go? Oh, damn, it's not where I put it. Isn't that always the way it goes when you download things? Crap, I'm not going to be able to find it yet.
Yeah, everything's going into my Monster of the Week folder at the moment. Like, it's just full of different memes and shit.
Been there, done that. Yeah, but it turned out to be pretty hard to find somebody that fit the image I was looking for. This is one. If you don't mind, I'll share my screen briefly. So this one was one guy I found. But the other one I wanted...
You'll have to hit the present to everyone. I'm not saying...
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see it.
Now I can.
It was showing it. Now you can. So this guy, probably a little old for what we're looking for, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am rock hard right now.
But that's not the... He didn't fit the image exactly, so I was looking for somebody else. I found somebody that evidently did something on the Dubai towers, so that's probably the guy I'll use.
Is it The Rock jumping between skyscrapers or Tom Cruise climbing Dubai towers?
No. It's somebody I've never seen before. Have you ever seen those crazy things of like the people that are hanging from the towers?
Yeah, I'm not okay with
like
it.
Skyscrapers. Yeah, no,
My
that's not
palms
me.
sweat. I can't. my knees weak. Arms are heavy.
Keep going.
No. So that's really cool. I'm super on board. I want to talk about history now because we're going to build some connections and then we're going to take a break. So we'll probably got about 10, 15 before we hit the break. Does that work for everyone at the moment? Brilliant. So history. History is your connection to the others. It's built based on your look and based on your space. You have two questions. You will... So normally the good like consent pathway thing is to ask, this is my prompt, who would like to be involved in this? If you have someone that you think would really work, feel free to ask. But in the end, it's down to them whether their character is a part of it. If the history thing, like I would ask you to please go with them and see if they work. If it's just not working for you, let me know. We can rewrite a different one. But I think these should work for us. So let's jump around this time. Jem, we're going to start with you. Or more accurately, Smidge, we're going to start with you. You guys have the cutest fucking names. Do you want to go through Smidge's history questions?
Yeah. My first history question is, blank refused to help when I needed them most. And my second is, blank is going to get us all killed if I don't keep them in line.
Are you, sorry, Jen, are you looking at yours or are you...
Oh, gosh.
You're the
You
yellow
are right.
color, right?
I'm looking at Micah's.
I'm working with you. It's a system error. I'll fix it.
Blank has to know that I'm keeping a secret from them. And blank pities me. They might not say it, but I know they do. That's much more fitting.
That's good to know. So let's start with that first one. Does anyone feel like they fit that?
I'm kind of into it because I think Micah... I don't think Micah would care about anyone's secrets, right? Like, Micah's very concerned about getting back to normalcy. So the idea that in this like hellscape, someone has some secret that they just can't tell Micah, I don't think he would care about it at all. So, or like he would never try to figure it out. So like that thought of like, he has to know, and Micah probably just doesn't.
I like that too, since Smidge is very much like concerned about other people's image of them.
Do we want to hit this now? Do we want to know what the secret is now? No, Darren wants to bring that out.
I'm not sure what it is yet.
That's cool. Hopefully, we'll bring that out.
Think about it.
What about that second one?
I mean, my impulse would be that would be Hack, because Hack is such an action character, and Smidge's whole thing is not being an action character.
Okay, yeah, I can go with that. Does that mean I have to pity you, or you think I pity you?
Based on my rating, I would say it means I think you pity me.
That feels more like Smidge to me anyway, right? That like,
yeah,
it doesn't actually matter what people actually think of you. It's what
Exactly.
you think they think of you.
Exactly.
Sure. And like Hack might protest and say, no, I don't pity you. And you're like, oh, that just means he pities me so fucking much. Right? Okay, cool.
No, Smidge would never say out loud that they think you pity them.
They just think it very loudly.
Mm.
All right. Well, let's move on to Hack then. Christo, do you want to do your history questions?
Yes. Blank made me promise to look after something very special to them. My second one, blank took my old bed and left me to sleep on the floor. Yeah, somebody's not nice to me. Wow. That's... Or maybe they needed it more. Yeah.
I mean, personally, I like the first one, because
So
I think my character, I mean, Sperry is kind of like, he's almost like a hoarder, but in a war zone, which is like weird. And so you just gave me something, and I don't even remember what it was, but you know, I promised to look after it, and I just put it in my stash.
Oh, wait, that's interesting, because that's the opposite of the way it's written. Do we want to do it that way?
You made me promise to look after some. Well,
made me promise to look after something very special.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Very
yeah.
maybe
So maybe like, yeah, I gave you just something stupid, like a newspaper that was, you know, on a certain date. And I was like, you know, you have to hold on to this.
Can it be the date of the first invasion?
Yeah.
And it's is that also is that the first time your brother was published in a newspaper, or?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Like he actually, you know, as like a 15-year-old or something, you know, they published him in the newspaper as like hey, check it out, you know, we got this article by some kid. But that was the first time he was published, and it was the date of the invasion. And so I gave you that newspaper to hold on to.
Sort of implying that maybe you think you might not get out.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm all over that. So who took my bed?
I think I did.
Of course you did. Of course Micah took my bed.
Yeah, I think maybe do you think it's like this was like the biggest room or something?
Sure.
And I was like, I need space to organize and like set up.
And you have like a bad back, maybe is what you told me. Like, I need the better bed.
Yeah, that's probably not true.
It doesn't have to be true.
Man,
You just
oh
wanted it.
my
And
God.
Hack was actually like, he probably was a little emotional in the beginning about it. And then he's like, he probably said, I'm playing Hack like he's an immigrant. So he'd say, it's fun though, you can have it.
You just have your little go bag. Maybe we found you like a sleeping bag at some point. Maybe I found you like a sleeping bag in some like supermarket and I felt bad. So I was like, here.
You found me a sleeping pad. Let's stop at that.
A pad, okay.
God,
The
that's
camping
amazing.
section was all tore up already. Everyone had everything. That was all that was left.
It's fine. I'll sit here shivering on the floor.
Oh, that's so good. Let's jump back to. Let's go to Sperry.
Okay, so I have Blank refused to help me when I needed him most. I kind of think I should, like, not to call you out, but I think Smidge would make
Yep.
sense.
I think so too.
Not to call you out, but I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
Please, Robert, continue the calling out of Smidge here.
I mean, I think there was at some point, like, to me, it was important, and it really probably wasn't important. Like, I probably just wanted to hoard something or go get something stupid, and you just totally shut me down. And now I'm always, hoping that I can someday find that, like, that ancient version of the, like a pair of Air Max 95s. It's like it was in the mall. Like there was one pair left. Everybody else got them. It was underneath the stall. Like I knew exactly where they were, and you wouldn't help me go get them.
We don't need them. Come on.
But I needed them. And then Blank, in a moment of need, stole something from me. I don't know what you guys would steal from me. It could be anything.
You've got everything.
Yeah.
So, whatever we needed.
So who wants to steal something from me?
I don't think I would steal.
Yeah, I don't think stealing from people I'm with. I think Hack has like it really defined. People that are in his circles and people that are outside of his circles. He's probably big in like he'd probably want to steal from the military. Like that would probably be his thing is try and snag stuff from the invaders.
What if
I was gonna say you could also borrow.
I was gonna say, what if we call it borrowing instead?
Like maybe it's just something you needed at the time. And so it's not really stealing, like you meant to replace it or put it back.
It could be Hack. I know what it could be. It could be you had some can of paints. You had spray cans. You don't need them. Come on.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I looted an old Home Depot, and the only thing left was spray paint. Because who needs spray paint? Everything is falling apart.
I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in Australia, spray paint is kept like behind lock and key. So like that would be the only thing left on the shelves.
Depends what city. Where I am, it's way out there. It's right out there. You can get it.
Oh yeah, it's same here.
Oh, New York, it is locked up.
No, long story, but I knew a kid that when I grew up that huffed spray paint, and we called him Silver because he showed up one day and his whole face was silver.
Does anyone want to change their character here, or?
No, I'm good.
Sorry, I'm losing my shit.
There's always room for a Mad Max reference.
Oh my god, chat is my favorite part of Gauntlet Games, legit. My favorite part actually is that people who are playing this game don't get, people who aren't playing this game don't get to see it. Micah, finish it off here.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Blank refused to help me when I needed them most, and blank is going to get us all killed if I don't keep them in line. Let's see. Blank refused to help when... Yeah, blank refused to help when I needed them most. I think that could be like anyone.
Mm-hmm.
What would I need help with? Maybe, I imagine there's some like, I feel like there's a lot of construction projects that Mike is trying to do, like trying to get things set up, right? Anime tech. Wait, what? Oh, never mind. I do like the idea of Sperry, if you're up for it, because a lot of our, since we look hard and people both call us reckless, I like that
Okay.
duality. Or not, well, I guess it's not a duality, but that like we could either be foils or we could be like very like...
Yeah, I mean, maybe we just want different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like having that explicitly laid out in history, kind of. Very cool. And then blank is going to get us all killed if I don't keep them in line.
Sorry, just before we move off that one, you said that Sperry refused to help because you want different things. What was it that you wanted that Sperry was unwilling to help with?
Let's see, that's a very good question to ask. Maybe Micah has problems like wrapping his head around how to get out of it, and he's so stuck on like getting set up and getting like secure that he's kind of like missing the forest for the trees, or missing the trees for whatever it is, that sort of thing. So maybe it was something that like maybe I was asking Sperry to help me with something that's so totally pointless, or that Sperry thinks is totally pointless. That like I couldn't finish it, right?
Cool. I'm on board.
Something like that. Like I feel like it's a lot of like structures. Like I'm trying to build a structure, which I can't really do on my own. And then probably everybody is like, please stop that.
Are you trying to build a shrine?
I'm trying to build a home hack.
I love that you seek structure, so you are physically building structures.
I'll do whatever I need to. Oh yeah, wait, and then my other one, I forgot. Blank is going to get us all killed if I don't keep them in line. I think this is a pretty even toss-up between Smidge and Hack.
Well, Smidge doesn't have much, so Hack could certainly do that.
How am I gonna get us killed?
Maybe just your reticence to like do any, like commit to anything strongly. So maybe it's not anything necessarily like physical or something. Maybe I'm just like, you need to get your mind straight.
I'm too cautious and I'm never gonna get us out of the city.
Because you got 3 reckless people with you. So from our context, you are just, a slowpoke. You're going to get us killed, but we're going to have to come back for you.
I'm into that.
Oh, that's so good. So good. All right, so that's history done. I think we'll take our first break there. What I would like you to think about over the 5-minute break is when we come back, we're going to start on this map thing, and I'm going to ask you all to draw on the map a location that is important to you, to your character. Like it could be anything. Could be pre-war important, could be post-war important. It'll be something like that. So have a bit of a think about that. And then we'll come back in 5 minutes. So 1:45 the hour. Does that work for everyone? Excellent. I'm going to go get some more water and maybe some more chocolate. See you guys in 5. Okay, owlets. People watching this game. Now that everyone's gone, we can start talking about it. I can't say how much better that character generation went than the first time we did it. Lot more lean. The 4 choices gave some really interesting divergent characters, some really interesting overlay. The history questions worked for the most part. Christo brought up 1 or 2 words there that are good that I need to change. It's just, but mostly they're malleable enough that players are finding spots for them. So that's really good. We're going to do this map thing again. I haven't, none of this has felt right re the map so far. Like I just haven't. It doesn't feel like it slots in anywhere at the moment. This is a bit of a weird place to put it, but we're going to figure it out. What else can we talk about? I think that's just a lot stronger. So these characters, I feel like I have a really good, strong character. I feel like there's a lot of strong motivation. I feel like players are buying into the aim. I feel like it's all working out. So it's a really good start. Thing is, I don't know where to kick us off yet with like initial conflicty stuff. So I might do some day in the life stuff to begin and see where we end up. Christo's still smashing me in chat with like solutions and stuff. It's great. Yeah, like so to be honest about it, Christo, I'll talk to you here if you don't mind. Just because of the openness of what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, like the nerves are still there. We got through what I was worried would be the bit that didn't work. So
what did you think wouldn't work?
History was done really recently. It's not something I fully understand. I was so worried that I was like leaving bits that weren't, like I wasn't given the good juice. You know what I mean?
And is there a mechanical thing to history at all?
No, both Ryan and I have spoken about it in the last ep that I did the other day, and I don't like history that mechanized it. I don't like bonds. I don't like rolling plus hex or anything like that. This game mechanizes all of that through its core mechanic. So there's no real reason that people should, like, I don't need you to roll plus hex, because if you don't want to help each other out, you just won't. And then you'll suffer for that.
Well, I guess it gives us hooks for longing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So like the idea is, at the end of this, you should be able to tell me what makes you bitter, hurt, anxious, frustrated, or sad. Or when you see something, you should be able to say, I feel that way. Yeah. Nah, we'll see what happens. But I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. These are excellent characters. This is like the kind of game that I'm already upset that we're playing more of.
Well, you know what you do. You just keep them as NPCs.
Spot on. Good plan, actually.
Borrow them forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
This Excel spreadsheet is very sexy. I love when I can make a choice and it listens and responds to me.
Thank you.
I agree.
I'm really happy with it. Yeah, I like what it does at the moment, which is nice. So let's start with. I don't think I've started with you, Micah. Actually, sorry, just before we go anywhere, how's everyone feeling about the tone and the vibe and the characters and stuff? Everyone pretty happy with it? Jen looks like super unsure.
I like it. I think we need to like. I mean, I don't know. I think Jen went out there like being the, the one that like we're all gonna pick on.
I've got to keep my ducks in line.
Yeah.
I have a tendency with tone to skew not serious, which is not, that's mostly a criticism of me. But I think leading into the game, this has been a good way to set the tone, like what you did with cats, and then the character creation process, I think sets it up pretty well, like who was waiting for me outside the city, those kind of questions. So I'm not as worried about it as I think I normally would be.
That's really exciting, Darren. I'm really first, thank you for the feedback. But second, I will tone police you as we go forward, and I will not hesitate to kick you from this game the minute you step out of line.
No jokes.
It's really good because this is something that the game needs to help you find tone. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to link it out again, the whiteboard app thing. We're all going to do, as I said before, a location that is important to your character. Why it's important is up to you, but it should say something about both them and about the city. And the reason this is important is that it's going to define something different about the world and about the resources that are available to you and the conflicts that you get into and stuff like that. If you're talking about like a game with a port that is like under naval blockade that is important to you because that's where you can always go to get resources, is a very different feel than the bare shelved Home Depot where you got the spray paint sort of thing. Like it's helping you, as I said before in the thing, it's helping you flag what you're interested in the game by making it a physical location. So Darren, do you want to start for us? You've got a whiteboard. It's totally blank. You can do whatever you want with it. We know nothing about this city yet, except that it's a fairly urban environment that's shaking up a little bit. So tell us what's important to Micah.
Cough button. I think what's important to Micah. I think what's important to Micah is just, man, I think it's the school, not because of the school itself, but because there's like the football field, the basketball courts, the things like that. Maybe the school is leveled, but you can still see the parking lot and then like the overgrown football field, and you can walk inside the gym and there's like a mostly usable but cracked basketball court.
I love that so much. Do you want to put that on our map? You can be if you just want to draw a rectangle and then write school on it, you're welcome to do that.
It's gonna be. My zoom is up.
Yeah. Sorry?
My zoom's at 47%. I'm just very worried about the scale.
Okay, let's all go for. I've got 44%. I can't get 47.
How do you sync up?
I know why. That's fine.
Okay.
47% will work. Let's all go for that 50-ish% range then.
And we're doing a 2D map, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how good you are at drawing with a mouse, but that's fine.
I'm not good.
While you're doing that, I'll ask. I think we'll go that one. So we'll go to Sperry. Sperry, what's an important place for you in this city?
I think probably what was left of my home, and also like the high school gym. Like it's where my little brother, mostly I think he was a writer, but he also liked to play basketball. So he was on the team because it's not hard to be on the team. So he just kind of hung out at the gym and watched people play.
Oh, so Darren's doing a schooly basketball thing, so we'll get you to go home. I love that. I love finding out about your home. Darren, have you started drawing yet, or am I?
I drew a whole thing. There's a football field.
Oh, no, I can't see.
Am I not? Oh no, am I on my own whiteboard?
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I don't see it either. This one says. How do we know if we got into the shared one?
Oh, I'm on the wrong board. Man.
Can anyone see my stuff?
I don't see anything.
I see it.
You see it?
Join shared board. Oh, hey, yeah, I see it.
Oh man.
Well, all right. Well, sorry, whiteboard. It'd be nice if I could copy and paste between them. Let me see. Highlight. Oh no, I drew a box. That's not a selection tool.
Should I draw like a range for us to draw it? No, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I dropped out and rejoined, and now I can see.
Ah, cool.
Okay.
Cool. I've never used this app before. Lou put me onto it, and he's never seen me run. Cool. So while you're doing that, let's have a chat with. Let's go with Hack. What? Tell me about what you're doing. What is important to you? Otherwise, I should use.
Hack. I was going to say an art supply store that's in the demilitarized zone because it's got everything.
Beautiful. The only thing I'm going to say is that no zone is demilitarized. Everything is militarized. You might not it might not be soldiers all the time, but they will pass through as often as they want. Do you mean it's like? Sorry?
I was just going to say I was trying to come up with a reason why it might still have art supplies in it. And that would be that it was be close to some like outpost of theirs or something like that.
That's perfect. Yeah, like it can be in a dangerous location for sure. I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. No, Christo, stop inventing conflict. No. Yeah, absolutely. Throw that on the
I can't. Somebody else is gonna have to do it. I can't see anything on the whiteboard. It's not letting me in.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it like asked me to sign in, and then I get this like little green circle that keeps spinning, but I don't see anybody else's work.
Okay. I used to use Google Drawings for this, and I was told this would be easier. I've been lied to.
Interesting. It keeps asking me to come in, but it doesn't.
That's fine. I think Darren's done so Darren can pick up some art supply stuff. And Darren, while you're doing that, throw some sort of militaristic outpost or checkpoint or building near it as well to give you guys a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw a road too.
Beautiful. And Smidge, where's important to you in this city?
I think there's a park that Smidge used to go to have some like alone time that used to be really nice, and then I think it got maybe pretty messed up in the conflict and is now also being a public space, it's probably an interesting place now. And so they don't go there anymore.
Oh, I definitely know what they're doing with it now. That's awesome. So I'll get you to draw that on the map, and then Robert, if you're done with yours, I'm going to get you to do one more thing. Where does everyone think the safe house would be? Reference all of these wonderful inputs that we've given.
I mean, we keep talking about the school and doing things around the school. Like, maybe the school would be a pretty good safe house.
I love that idea. I'm super all about that. What do other people think?
Yeah, I could have like a old boiler room or something like that.
Yeah, and maybe it's something that, when in doubt, you go back to what you know. And it's like, I go to school every day. So,
Cool. The other thing is, like, if we have like a nice school, it might have like a workshop and stuff like that that's accessible. So we could have like built in like a false wall or something like that.
Yeah, right, and tools that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can improvise.
Cool. So the only other question is, this city, do we see it as particularly cold, particularly hot? Like what kind of latitude, longitude? I think it's definitely a place that gets a lot of rain. I can't remember who said. Oh, the fact that Sperry's in boat shoes that are good on the slick made me think that this has definitely got to be a place that like gets a lot of rain.
Yeah, I think maybe we'd be on the lake, like Michigan or like Upper Ohio. You know, like on a lake somewhere.
I love it. I'm going to draw.
Michigan is real good because I would love for this to be in winter when the lake is frozen. We want to get real dire.
Love it. Love it so much. I'm going to do like a big lake, frozen lake that like sits just behind the school, and like it's just going to be behind you there. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I love the idea of the school being like on the lake.
Yeah.
Which means it has to be an old school, because these days they would never build a school near a lake because of the liability. But an old school could like have it.
Yeah.
And an old school would have those like steel
Bunkhouses.
reinforced beams and stuff that like, yeah, that allows it to withstand a bit of stuff. Excellent. Does that click for everyone? Is everyone feeling pretty on that? Jen, you're my fave.
Having trouble with these drawing tools.
All right. So we're about an hour and a half through now, and we've finished character and setting, which I think is pretty good. It's pretty good marker for what I'd want this game to be for like a 3 or 4 session run thing. So how about we get into some play so that everyone enjoys themselves, hey? I just need to give you a link to all the moves. Let's give you comment things. I'm so excited. Oh boy, Frozen Lake Michigan looks awesome. It's like snow and bubbly. I love it. So here's the way this game sort of works procedurally. When you for those of you with limited or no Powered by the Apocalypse experience, things that you can do that you can give mechanical weight are called moves, and they're triggered by the fiction. So examples of moves in this game are stuff like read a situation, feel them out for when you want to look at people, when even for a moment you forget the war, when you share what little you have, that sort of stuff. They're all on the Google Docs link that I just sent to you. When you do stuff that isn't governed by moves, we resolve it through my MC moves and through the agendas and the principles of the game. When you make a move that demands a roll, everyone who's making the move together chooses to spend between 0 and 3 longing, which represents that opening themselves up vulnerably to the people around them. And then they roll 1d6 each and add the number that they spent. The group's 2 highest results then determine how the move resolves. So if the 2 highest results are both 6+, you will generate some forward momentum, you'll get some good shit, things will work out really well for you. If the highest result is a 6+ and the next highest is a 5 or lower, you will get some of what you want, but there'll be a cost. Here's the thing. The person who opened themselves up to be more vulnerable gets the cost. The person who does the emotional labor gets screwed. The other person gets all the good stuff. If the 2 highest results are both 5-, I'm gonna fist you. I'm gonna destroy you, and it's gonna be fun. When you act alone or with NPCs, you roll as normal, but you can never get that super good. We operate well together because you're on your own. If you roll a 7+, you resolve as if you were the higher result, that emotional labor, things are going to be bad for you result. If you're in the middle, at a 5 or a 6, you roll as if you get the lower result, the things are going well for you. And on a 4 or less, you miss, and I destroy you. Let me get a roll for your party going so that we have somewhere to put dice. I just need a new room. We are safely touched hookworm. That is not the most upsetting sentence you've heard today. So what's going to happen is the procedure of play will be, you guys will go through, you'll do things. When we hit moves, we'll notify you. Look, let's be honest, you guys don't know the moves that well, so I'm going to be the one that brings them up and is like, hey, this sounds like you're trying to do this thing. There are... on the left-hand side, you can go to the headings, so you can say there's fiction interrogation moves, intimacy moves, conflict moves, and stuff like that. So here's the basic rundown for you. When you inspect situations or open yourself up to people, you can ask questions that will allow you to figure out what you can do in the fiction, right? So that's your fiction interrogation. That's your figuring out how to do things. When you want to build up hope with people, or learn more about them, they're your intimacy moves. Stuff like forgetting the war, which the example I always give is playing Monopoly in a bombed out shelter is trying to forget the war. And that's a really good way to like get to know people, gain hope, stuff like that. Sharing what little you have is our intimacy move. This can mean sharing your physical space or your body in the form of sex, or it can be sharing a meal together. It can be like anything. It's such a low barrier to intimacy by design. It's designed for you. Yeah, Christo, party is perfectly forget the war. As to be honest, is like seance, right? That's the move for that sort of stuff. Plead your case is the move for when you want to get things done, when you want other people to do things for you. You're not demanding. You can't assert to them. You can only ask. What else we got? Conflict. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I thought I heard a question. That's cool. Conflict moves. Becoming the war. When you enact violence upon people and become the war, you always roll alone, and it always sucks. But you get what you want. So enjoy that. Braving the active war zone is if you get caught under fire or something like that. Scrounging around is when you need more scrap, dig through rubble and shit like that. When the war fucks you up is when you are the victim of violence and you roll that alone as well. And then finally, when you escape the city, each character chooses how much stash to spend with a minimum of 3, and then you roll plus stash spent. And that sounds good. How's everyone feeling about those?
Pretty good. I had a dumb question, but like, can I more or less just say kind of what I'm trying to do, and then you can tell me the move that it makes sense to do?
You have totally nailed PPTA right there. That's exactly what it's about. Try to lead with the fiction, and I'll try to maximize it, and we'll see.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. So let's begin.
Do you
What? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you have like a shorthand list of all of the moves that we can make?
No. Would that be a valuable thing to you?
That would be helpful for me, just because there's a lot of scrolling back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, me too, but I'm using like on the left side where you can click on the like fiction interrogation.
Oh.
Yeah,
Smart.
that helps.
I will.
How do I get to that again?
I don't know. It should just pop up on Google Docs, but I'm not really sure.
Table of contents. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps me
It's under view and then show document outline.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, Google Myers it.
That has sort of the categories.
Yeah, I need to. I'll make a list, but I'll do it in the break. For now, we're going to begin we're going to begin with like a kind of start of session move, which is when everyone rests, recovers, or waits for the right moment, the story jumps forward. So the question is, the decision that needs to be made at this point. Oh man, I think everyone's frozen. Or is it just me? No, it's just me. Dope. So what happens is whenever we're going to kind of decide what kind of lifestyle you're living at the moment, how things look inside this place, and we're gonna frame it around a scene of the group of you, kind of just like an average day in the life scene. So what you need to decide individually is how comfortable is your existence. If you enjoy little luxuries, you live on 2 scrap and you will gain hope, which will open up that 4th longing box for you. If you scrape by, you will live on 1 scrap. And if you go without, the absence will take its toll and you will lose hope. Now, it's an individual choice, but you will notice that you only have 7, which means not everyone can pick 2. You'll also notice that you're going to have to go, like if you use this stuff, you're going to have to go out and replace it before the next time you need it. So here's the question is, let's how about we do the fiction and then we'll see what move people want to see. So Darren, let's start with you. When what we'll do is I'll get everyone to describe their character, like how they're spending their time early in the morning as the sun kind of comes across that frozen lake. And what I want to hear is your character. I want to hear I want to hear specifically like what your character does with your time, and then I want to hear something about the safe house, the space around you that shows us that you're living in scarcity.
Okay. Let's see. On this beautiful wintry morning, I think so this is like cinematic. We see the camera go into like the boys' locker room outside or in the gym or whatever, and you see Micah shaving because he's like just starting to get his like facial hair in, and he's like keeping his appearance as clean as he can. So you see him shaving, so he does that. And I mean, even that's a good sign for scarcity because like razors and like shaving cream and stuff isn't gonna be like, that's not a resource. So I think he's shaving dry firstly, and I think probably early on one of the things he grabbed was just like a pile of those like disposable or those like single blade razors, or maybe they are disposable razors because it's just more like a CVS or something. But then I think like probably miraculously the school is still hooked up to the electrical grid. Since we made this in winter, let's not go too hard, I think maybe. But it's ruined. So I think that Micah didn't think about that as the fall was going by. So I think he's spending a lot of his time early winter trying to patch up these holes and trying to keep the heat in, basically. And I think the big sign of the scarcity for that is that he doesn't have the proper equipment to do that. So it's like tarps maybe, and it's like it's not really that good. Like you could probably just keep warm other ways.
I love that so much. The shaving dry thing is such like a visceral feeling for me as someone who's done that. Mm-hmm. And like I can just like feel the micro cuts.
Yeah.
Christo, what's Hack doing at this moment?
Hack is painting a wall in the bedroom, and he's painting it with a scene. Since this is the school I guess we all went to, did we state that? I think he's painting it with a scene from some scene from the school that we all know. So capturing like a time before the war began with the people we knew. So it probably has, you know, Mrs. Johnson, the art teacher, and it has that asshole coach Jerkin, you know, and stuff like that. But they're all people that didn't make it, or we haven't seen. But so it's sort of like the normalcy behind it. And he's doing that, and he's got like a mask up over his face so that he's not breathing in the fumes. And he's doing it while everybody's out of the room before he goes out to go scavenging.
What's your mask made out of? Is it a like just one of those like papery masks, or is it an old shirt, or what is it?
I think he's using an Arab mask. You know, one of the I forget what they're actually called, but you know, the classic Arab desert thing that you can wear as a scarf, and you can use it to cover your face, or you can wrap it on your head. It's a big scarf, basically, that you can wrap in different ways.
Yeah. I always mispronounce it, but it's like keffiyeh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what's your? I love the painting of people that you haven't seen. That's beautiful. What's your sign of scarcity?
Well, he doesn't have much stuff. All right, he basically has a backpack and his bug-out bag, if you will. So that's one thing. It's probably also the sign of scarcity of how do we say it? Is it, if this is an old school, is it heated by like batteries, radiators? Do you know what I mean? Is that?
Yeah. I think I like the idea of it being connected to the grid. And so you've got like those old like electric radiators, the ones that when they work too hard, they like rattle.
It could.
Oh, yeah.
Or I was actually thinking like a steam one if it's a really old school, but it could be anything like that. And what I was thinking about is the scarcity. You can see that his clothes have been washed and they're drying on them. You know, the fact that you have to, you know, whatever you're not wearing is basically being washed and hung up to dry.
And in the cold, like I just imagine that thick mist coming off them.
Yeah, and when things dry that way, you know, they also just sort of get hard. They don't get soft like the dew coming out of a dryer.
So good at games, Christo. Sperry, let's hear about what you're doing and how that scarcity is reflected.
So I think I'm just like still gathering kind of everything. And my house is basically right across the street from the high school. And what most people don't know is there's actually still power. Like, we turned off all the lights in the house. But in the basement, like, there's still power. So I go down there to relax and, you know, play some games, just do whatever, you know, hang out. Like, nobody knows about my secret place that actually has power. Meanwhile, I'm just gathering up whatever I can.
That's awesome. I love that you have this little like area of comfort that you don't share with people. That's so great.
Yeah. So around people, you know, I'm gathering up, you know, like dead batteries. I'm like, well, you know, we might be able to, you know, bring them back to life. You know, a dead battery is nothing. You know, we can use it. Meanwhile, I'm just like over there using power from the grid.
That's so good. Smidge, what are you doing and how are we reflecting scarcity in that?
I am in the kitchen behind the cafeteria. Yes. And I am cataloging sort of the canned goods there. I'm currently looking at the expiration date on like a gallon can of pudding. And I've got like a bunch. I keep moving things to the table, and I'm putting different things in like whatever bags I found. It's mostly like plastic, but there's some tote bags and like old backpacks. And I'm making little stashes because you can't keep all the food in the kitchen, because if we keep all the food in the kitchen, everyone will know where to go like take our food. So I'm gonna just like put bags all over the school, so we can always like grab some if we need to. Because like the last time they, I don't want to get. The last time I tried to stay back and collect food, it's fine.
Oh, it's amazing. So let's make the decision now. Who feels like they're, because that to me sounds like Sperry's probably living in some comfort, but Hack is not. Where do people feel like they fall on the comfortable, miserable without, and in the middle scale?
Middle.
Yeah, scraping by.
All right, so we're going to take 1 off for everyone else. Sperry, are you going to go with 2 there? Or are you going to...
Yeah, I think 2 makes sense.
Cool.
At the time, like, I'm hiding it from everybody.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
But still.
That's cool, man.
I'm living large.
Don't let me tell you what to do in a war zone. That's up to you. So Sperry, you can increase your hope. So you go from confident to hopeful, which opens up your longing. And by the way, if in any of these scenes, has anyone feel like they've hit a longing trigger? Nope. That's cool. It's totally cool. So,
yeah, Hack definitely hit it. He got sad from doing the painting because of the people that we think most of them are dead, or we've seen most of them get killed. So he's definitely got sad. So I think he got a longing out of that.
Beautiful, Christo. You can give yourself 1 there.
I could say Smidge was anxious, but I think that's also just sort of a base level. So I don't want to be taking it every scene.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I love the idea of like an anxious character that you take it all the time. That's so good. Like the game is meant to be, it's okay if you're taking a lot of longing. What it means is that you're playing into the themes that I want, which is bitterness, anxiety, fear. And so that's okay.
Yeah, and you're talking about like stashing food all over the place. So it is an anxious move. You're not just stashing it like near a door. You're stashing it all over the school, so however we leave, you're going to be able to grab food.
And is longing, more longing represents more need? Is that right?
Yeah, more longing represents more desire for the closeness of others.
Okay, yeah.
So do I tick a box on this spreadsheet?
Yeah, so on your longing track, you can tick the 1 box because you've taken 1, and if you tell someone about it, you can tick another and bring it up to 2.
Okay. How many did you say I should do?
Sorry,
remind.
Oh, let's go for Robert first. Sorry, because I missed your question.
Yeah, sorry. How many should I do on longing?
It's up to you. So it's 1 if you hit 1 of your longing triggers. I would be interested if you hit 1 of yours because you seem like you're in a pretty like comfortable position, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't think I would.
But what you can do is you can set yourself at the moment. Your hope track is on that confident bit. You can bring that up to hopeful, which when you do that, you'll see your maximum longing goes up because you are living large. And sorry, Jen, what was yours?
When you max out your longing, you go down a hope?
Nope. You can hold maximum longing as much as you want.
All right.
It's Christo, you'll notice that's different from Liberté. The reason for that is that if you want to hoard it and don't want to roll, that's fine. You're screwing everyone else by not getting involved in their rolls. Your passive aggression is, and that's okay. You're allowed to hoard and not help people, and that's okay. So let's talk about this. So we see Smidge, stashing things around the school, and as she does, one of the there's like an old desk that one of the legs is broken off and it's leaning up against the side, and Smidge pulls it back, places some food like in underneath the desk where it can't be seen, and then pushes the desk back in front. And as you do, you look up and you can see out over the lake, rolling over the school, is this like thick black cloud. The kind of black cloud that in weather like this will bring like pelting, painful hail and like harsh winds, like thunderous rain, the kind of stuff that makes life really miserable. And I think like just to hit home with that, as you like look out the window and you see it, there's a little flash of lightning off in the distance, and then one of the wind picks up, and one of the tarps on the wall that Mike has set up like loses a corner and starts flapping in that wind. What do you do?
I shuffle out of the kitchen to go find Micah. Remind me, Micah, where were you?
Oh, I don't know, just in some hallway. maybe we run into each other, like, because I feel like I would be running around the school trying to make repairs. So yeah, I probably just run into you in whatever hallway, right?
Yeah, I think you're already on the track to making repairs, and I'm, of course, coming like, there's a storm. Like, we need to do this thing that you already know that we need to do.
Whoa, take a breath, Smidge. What? I could like can't get these tarps down anymore. Like, what's going on? This wind is wild.
We're gonna have to put buckets under that big leak in the science room.
Again? I thought I repaired that.
And the tarps come loose by the kitchen. I don't know. Do you want? I could like look around while you, or I can give you a hand, or.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't know if we're ever gonna get this done if the storm is coming in. Can you give me a hand?
Okay. Well, what's the most important thing?
Let's get we need to stop the flooding. So let's get the roof patched up.
Okay.
Let's do that first. Do you know where Hack and Sperry are?
I heard Hack painting, I think. I haven't seen Sperry all morning. I don't.
Oh my God.
Maybe he's just not answering. I don't know.
Probably messing with all that crap he's got. Is he keeping that at his house anymore?
Maybe we can just plug up the hole with shoes.
Oh my God, yeah. Let's go get his shoes. I'm into that idea. Do you want to steal Sperry's shoes and put them on the roof?
I do, but we probably shouldn't.
Rob, are you okay if some of Sperry's shoes go missing here?
Oh, hell yeah.
But if Hack is in the room, aren't they going to have to do it with Hack there?
Do you share space with?
Yeah. Remember, he put me on the floor.
Yeah, I just didn't realize you were sleeping on his floor. Holy shit, that is some passive aggressive shit, Hack. Like, oh, you're gonna kick me out? Cool, I'm right here on your floor.
Well, it's maybe it's the only room that's like still like well sealed, so we can like.
That's so good.
Well, and the other thing is, and Micah hinted at this. You said, in whatever other way we can to keep warm.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah, that's very pragmatic.
That's true.
But then I'm kicked off onto the floor. That's.
Ooh, sorry, Hack.
This cot's just not that big.
Yeah. So, what does that look like, Hack, when you turn around from the wall and you catch two of your other crew like in here collecting shoes?
I think he turned around and he's like a spray can in one hand and the mask gets. What the hell? What do you think you're doing?
Whoa, whoa, Hack, put that down. Like, no need to aim that at us.
Well, really? You're going to take from Sperry?
He has so much shit. We just need material. There's a storm coming in. We gotta plug the hole. What else are we gonna use?
I don't know. You could take clothes from the lockers.
We're wearing them.
So
There got to be shoes in the lockers. You don't have to take his shoes.
I want to get a roll in here because it sounds like you two like toe to toe with this. Sounds like there's a lot of subtext to it. So I want to see this feel them out roll between the two of you. So if either of you have some longing to spend, you're more than welcome to. If anyone wants to retcon in that this scene was making them feel bitter or whatever, you're more than welcome to.
Oh wait, no, I mixed it up. I'm in Micah's room, so I'm painting Micah's room. So I probably, unless I'm doing this in Sperry's room, which is really passive aggressive also.
I'm super okay with that. And we're this deep into the scene, so I'm interested in starting painting Sperry's room.
How dare you steal shoes from this room that I'm definitely supposed to be painting in?
No, that's perfect.
It's so good.
Roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I'm sure Sperry will be okay with this. It looks great.
By the way, my roommate knew I was
likes
doing a
the people.
playtest, so he got me coffee, and I just love this guy.
That's very nice. I'm jealous.
He's my faves. So let's see this. So I feel like it's specifically Micah and Hack. Although you are there, Smidge, are you going to get involved in this role, or are you not going to waste your precious resources on these?
I think Hack is going to look at Smidge and say, "Smidge, come on."
I think Micah's gonna look at Smidge. Micah's gonna look at Smidge and say, "Smidge, what's his problem?"
Fuck, this is my favorite. So you have three options here, Jen. You can get involved in the role, which is great. It's a fiction interrogation role, so it just means you get to ask a couple of questions if you're part of that big role. You can stay out of it and keep your resources to yourself. You've only got one longing. You don't want to spend that on this role. What a waste. Or you can interfere, essentially, which is you roll along with them, but there's a bit of a different resolution structure to it. But interfering is like aggressively moving against people.
So what I want to do is basically just back down about it. Like, maybe we shouldn't. So I don't know if that's
that sounds like you're staying out of it. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you backing down because you're misreading someone's intentions, or are you backing down because?
I think I'm backing down because I was like kind of. It was like a joke that went too far.
I love it. So let's go for Micah and Hack. You guys want to roll a d6 each. Tell me before you roll how much longing you're going to spend on this roll.
I think I want to take another longing because I think I'm frustrated by the very idea that they're going to take things from Sperry.
Sounds perfect to me. Does that track for everyone kind of getting that idea of longing and like how it mechanizes us saying our character's feelings out loud?
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna spend one on this.
Okay, cool. So Christo, you roll a d6, add 1. Darren, roll a d6, add 0. And let me know what you get.
4.
4. Cool. 4 is a good number if Christo rolls higher than 0.
I got a 5.
Okay.
No, which means it's a 6 with the +1.
I thought I was going to get to do some MC moves to open this game up. That's it. All right, let's do this instead. So when you feel them out, you roll plus longing spend. On a mix, the lower result, that's you, Darren. The other person is like open and honest. You can read them like a book. You can ask one question of the list below. Your questions are just for everyone and for the people watching. What's your most immediate want? What's your most immediate need? What do you intend to do? How can I get you to do something I want you to do? No bullshit. What are you really trying to tell me here? The higher result, something feels off about them. They're not being as vulnerable as you are. So ask one of the list below. What lie have you told me recently? What have I done that most bothers you? What are you afraid I'll do? What's troubling you the most right now? And what are you trying not to tell me? So we resolve the lower result first. So we resolve the good stuff before we get to the complications. Darren, what's your
most immediate need?
And do we answer this as our character or as the player?
So it's player level knowledge, but the best thing you can do, like maximum PBTA points, best player points, is like tied into the fiction. So if your most immediate need is a bed, you can be like, you can see that my clothes are dirty because I've been sleeping on the floor. And like I very obviously, my eyes are red, like I haven't slept, that sort of thing, right? If you
I get it, okay?
that is my favorite. Holy shit. Jen, you have nailed this game in like one sentence. I love it. So with your, if you can answer with the fiction, you can. If not, you're welcome just to say, look, the thing that I need most is this. Thing that my character needs most is this.
No, this is easy. This is so Hack will like get right up into your face, Micah, and say, I can't believe you're doing this. We need to trust each other. If we can't trust each other, we have nothing. We won't make it through. I need trust, be able to trust you. And if you're taking from Sperry, what are you taking from the rest of us? Aside from my bed.
Man, you said I could have that. I don't. Why are you so mad about that now?
So can we swap places? You take the floor tonight?
Wow. What's that?
That's what I thought.
Christo, you've got a question if you want to ask it. By which I mean do it, but you know.
Oh yeah. Let's see, I get the higher result ones. What lie have you told me recently, dude?
I think I think while we're having that little like argument, I let it slip that the room I promised I was building you isn't happening.
So all that stuff I've been scavenging to help build a room? What the fuck have you been doing with it?
I'm trying to like repair all the fucking leaks and the holes in the walls and like put up the walls. There's like bigger problems here than just like a little space for you. There's plenty of closets if you want.
And I think Hack will like just push you against the wall he just was painting, actually. So you're going to end up with paint on the back of whatever you're wearing, and like storm out of the room. Just like, I'm done with you. And he's gone.
For sure going to take a frustrated point.
Awesome. I'm going to cut back to this scene because I want to see the resolution of Smidge leaving you out to dry there. But I want to see Sperry on the walk back from your house toward the school. You can see like very clearly this dark thundercloud that I was describing before rolling across the lake. And as the lightning crashes, you think you can hear the thunder, but it turns out to just be the sound of the jet engines screaming across the city. And it's gotten to the point where like you almost forget the jets are there, except for moments like this. And they fly over like high and fast, and it's this really low-throated grumbling. And off in like the distance, just before the kind of horizon of your sight, you see this old building, probably like this old ruined church, St. Michael's Church, just like collapse out the bottom as the fires from the bombs that they dropped dies down. What's the route that you travel to get back to the group?
I think I would take my normal route. Like, it's almost like so typical that you can see, in the ground, like it's worn. So I'm just running to the school.
Oh, brilliant. Why are you running?
I mean, mostly because, the storm going on, like the thunder kind of reminds me of when the soldiers first came in, and then second came in, and, every time the soldiers came in, everything was bad. But always it sounded like this.
I love it. I think that as you're running across, what's like it'd be like not coyotes, it'd be like wolves and stuff this far north, wouldn't it? And because you like run across, you see there's I'm gonna put it on the map too. There's probably like a oh no, we've got the small park already. So you can see that small park off to the east, and there's like a couple of wolves on it, and they're nuzzled over some like rubbish that the soldiers have thrown from the side of a truck, and they're tearing into the plastic bags. Tell me about what the school looks like as you approach it.
I'm running toward it, and it's like 3 stories tall, which just makes it look, I mean, it's almost imposing, if you're in the area. So it just looks like a place where I need to be. But also, I've been there before. I graduated from this high school. So everything about this school is familiar. And I'm just running there because it's the only place I know.
Fuck. It just unmuted right as Jen made me laugh. Okay, so as you come across, there's the basketball court that kind of meets your feet first, and the asphalt of the basketball court is like peppered with bullet holes, like it's not a perfectly smooth surface anymore. What I want to know is, at this point, like almost as soon as your feet hit that asphalt, you hear the rumbling of the trucks on the road behind you. What do you do as the like the convoy of military supply trucks rolls past?
I hit the ground, and just start crawling toward the building. Because I've realized that if they can see you, they can shoot you. And at this point, they don't know who's friendly, who's not.
Absolutely. That is spot on. Do you want to roll? There's a move called when you brave the active war zone. You roll plus longing spent. Now, I don't know if this is evoking some feelings in you, but you're more than welcome to take some longing for that. But then you're going to roll. Now, unfortunately, because you're rolling alone out here, your results are a little bit different, which is that if you get a 5 or a 6, you'll get the lower result. If you get a 7+, you'll get the higher result. A 4- is bad times.
And sorry, what do we roll?
So you're rolling 1d6, and you're adding as much of your longing as you want to spend. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I made this clear before, but like when you spend it, it goes away, and then you build it back up again. Like I think I took that as read, but I should be clear about it.
Do you determine to spend it before you roll or after you roll?
Before you roll.
Okay.
Come on, man. I'm not going to make it easy for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now this is great because you're going to see that like the other two were able to like so Darren didn't have a good roll, but Christo was kind of able to save him out of that that MC move things go bad range, but you don't have that. This roll goes bad and no one is around to save you.
Let's see. I rolled a 2.
Oh boy. Did you spend any? I mean, I will ask. Did you spend any longing on it? But
nope.
Yep, that's cool. So, for reference, a higher result one is you draw attention to yourself to give your friends an opening, but you get stuck for a while alone. You lose hope. But I think what's going to happen instead is like when you hit the ground and as you're crawling, you hear the engine rev a little bit harder. And you hear the wheels leave the road. Are you looking back at them, or are you focused on where you're going?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking back at them because my whole plan is I want to get to where I'm going and tell them where they're going.
Right. So as you look back at them, like I think you crawl a bit, and you can feel those where the bullet chips have like made the surface uneven. It like digs into your arms, and as you turn around, you see that one of the engines is revving harder because they're leaving the road, and they cut through like the really small ditch, the drainage ditch off the side of the road, and pull up. And you can hear someone shouting out the window in a language unrecognizable to you, and they're driving like straight for you. What do you do?
At that point, like if I can see them driving straight toward me, I would just get up and sprint toward the school.
Perfect. I'm going to cut away from that. Character names. Micah. Smidge just left you out to dry, and now you have paint on your clothes. Do you have another set of clothes, or is this it?
You know what? I have another set of clothes, but what I don't have is another coat.
Yes, perfect.
Now my coat is ruined.
Absolutely. And is it Smidge's fault, or
is it what?
Is it Smidge's fault that your coat's ruined?
I
mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you know.
No, but I think that, in the heat of the moment, I think Micah peels himself off the wall and he, like, throws his coat off. And he says, like, what the fuck, Smidge? Like, nice to see you didn't have my back there.
It was a joke. I thought... I didn't want to actually take his shoes. I thought you can have my coat if you want.
That's too
small.
My
coat is not as cool.
That's too small, Smidge. Listen, it was a stupid joke, I guess, but I mean, shit's not great between Hack and me.
Yeah. Why was he in here anyway? Did Sperry ask him to paint this?
Probably not. He's a tagger. He paints whatever he wants.
And he's telling us not to steal his shoes.
I know, seriously. God. Listen, I need to blow off some steam. Do you want to, like, shoot some hoops or something? Whatever the kids say for basketball?
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
So just for reference, I would have invoked the share what little you have like intimacy thing there with that awesome offer of the coat, but it was like immediately rejected. So like there's no sharing, right? So that's perfect. I just wanted to like bring that out to show you.
But I guess the question is, Smidge, do you take a longing from that?
Yes. What yeah, do you misread that rejection of the coat, or?
I mean, I think this scene came off great for me. Micah, I managed to distract Micah from my betrayal. And we're gonna go play basketball, and that's great.
Oh, I imagine you would, but as you are like heading towards the front door, like you can hear that thunder rumbling, and it's weird because you know how thunder usually like rolls and then stops. This one kind of just sounds like it's increasing and increasing and increasing, and then I think that's the moment that like, you know those double doors that schools have with like the emergency exit bars things. I think that just like slams open, and Sperry is like sprinting through the door towards the both of you. Sperry, what do you do when you see them standing there?
I guess at that point, like I'd just be, sprinting and panting, like sort of between breaths, like, no, they're coming. Like, we gotta get down.
Oh my god, we weren't really gonna steal them, I swear.
Wait, steal what?
What?
Nothing.
Who?
Okay, we'll figure it out after we get done with this. Did you steal my stuff? I need it.
Sperry, who is coming?
We didn't take anything. What's happening?
Like, they're coming for real.
Like they are coming?
Well, some truck just rolled up.
Oh, shit.
There's like you hear that thunder that was the engine rumbling just cuts, and in that moment, as like they're coming for real, that engine cuts and it is just deathly silent, and then you hear the like click thud of doors being opened and closing.
Let's get the door. My god.
It's like a Jurassic Park scene where I'm trying to unlocking the door on the raptors. I'm into it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find something heavy.
Maybe there's like
trying to lock the doors.
Yeah, maybe there's like maybe this is like a weird bad entrance that has like a fire thing. So if we pull the fire alarm or something like that, it'll slam down. Whatever. You know those fire systems?
I don't know any fire system that as soon as you pull it, shuts all the exits.
Not all the exits.
In a school, right? Yeah, you're going to hit the fire alarm.
You hit the fire alarm. Every exit slams shut. All the children rose. It's okay.
I was going to say we had a stick to wedge in the door, but that's much better.
I'm thinking like they came in, if it's from the basketball courts, maybe there's like some weird foyer or something like that. So like this weird space closes. The stick in the door is great.
if you're pulling the...
Yeah, if it's a typical school, it might have those collapsing bleachers, and you might be able to squeeze in behind them.
Does it sounds like you guys are looking around. Does anyone want to read the situation? Is that something people want to do? If you read a situation, you can ask questions about like
that's
how
probably
to get places and stuff. I don't know, it's useful.
Yeah.
But if people don't want to roll and spend longing and shit, you don't have to.
Let us roll.
3.
Let's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend a long.
So we'll go through this. Who's involved in this? So the scene at the moment has the 3 of you. Sperry, are you involved in looking around for this?
I think at this point I'm still sprinting in and just trying to lose whatever is behind me.
So they're like, okay, we've got to solve this problem. You're like, fucking Audi. I love it. That's so fucking good. Oh, that's awesome. Is this you being in over your head, Sperry, or?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it is, yeah. Spot on. So the two of you that are rolling this, yes, exactly, Christo. You'd make an excellent MC at this game, Robert. You're welcome to do it anytime. So the two of you that are reading a situation, roll 1d6 and add how much longing you spend. So how much are you going to spend each? So 1 from Darren. What are you thinking, Jan?
I will spend 1.
Okay,
That is all I have.
So you guys are like, yeah, pretty. By the way, because like we're sort of getting to know the system and stuff, I'm totally okay with you being like, oh, and also Sperry running off would have made me frustrated, so I have 2 now, and I'm going to spend that. I'm more interested in knowing how your characters feel than I am in the chronology of that feeling. So you're going to roll spend 1. So both of you, please roll 1d6 and add your 1.
I got a 6.
Hey, big spender.
Oh.
Sorry, I think you're muted, Jen.
I was confused by the dice roller, but I got 1 both times, so.
Oh man, you got
plus 1, so 2.
You're really bad at it. No, that's great. That's great. That's what you want, because you're the lower roll, which means you get to ask the good stuff. And Darren saved you from a failure, but because
Smidge.
Yeah, because Micah put themselves out there, they're going to get the highest. So when you read a situation, roll plus learning spent, we've done that. Lower result, you get the good news. You can choose one of these questions. You've got who or what here is useful or valuable to us. What's really going on here? What's our best way out, way in, way through? What will it cost us to get something? What would you like to ask?
I think what here is useful to us makes the most sense.
Okay. So I think that Micah has set up, like, because this is a safe house. You guys have been here for a while. So I think Micah's actually set up a, like, you know, those like sliding bolt locks, and it's been drilled through, and it's so poorly done that on the other side of the door, you can see the screws sticking through that hold it in. So it's really haphazard, but it's effective, and it won't hold people off. Like, if it's a military truck and they want to come in with like battering rams and stuff, you're not gonna do it, but it'll hold off other people who are trying to steal your shit, or, like, you know, people who aren't that determined to get in. I think that's valuable to you. And also, this is a big school. Just the fact that there's space means you could probably find places to hide. That's also valuable. And you being Smidge, know where good hiding spots are, because you pretty much spend your time stashing stuff around this place. Does that answer your question to your satisfaction?
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, do we know what room we're in right this moment?
So I think this is like the foyer, like this kind of longer than it is wide, almost hallway that leads out to the basketball court is what I'm seeing. Does that work for? Cool. Darren, when you're ready, you can ask, what's this going to cost us? Who shares our interest in this? What crucial detail have we noticed too late? How have we been trapped or deceived?
These are all very good questions.
Thank you. That's very kind to say.
I think I'm going to ask, what is this going to cost us?
Ooh, that's very good. It's going to cost you time. The bolt that you've set up isn't perfectly aligned, so you're actually going to have to, like, hold your body against the door. It's probably warped in the cold, right? Like, it's probably warped in the cold. So you're going to have to hold your body against the door, fiddle it shut, which means that, like, at least one of you is going to have to stay behind. So if hiding is the option, it's not going to be an option for one of you. At least.
I think Micah just looks at you, Smidge, and I think that he says, like, well, you need to find Hack, get I forgot his name. Get Sperry under control. I'll get this lock in place.
Okay, yeah. I'll do that. And Smidge sprints off after Sperry. Or wait, no. Am I supposed to help with a thing first?
I mean, you can, but you don't have to. Like,
okay.
This is all choice. You can help if you want. You don't have to.
I want to follow the plan that Micah has. That's.
I love it.
My plan goes.
There was a moment where I thought about volunteering to stay, but clearly did not.
Brilliant. So I think we'll come back to Micah and the door. I want to see like what happens when Smidge. Where do you run to? Not Smidge. Sorry. Sperry. Where do you run to? I guess more importantly, the question I'm really asking is where do you bump into Hack? And I think you're muted. You're still muted. Robert, I'm sure everything you're saying is amazing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I think I found some window that's unlocked and just kind of snuck in. And then we just bumped into each other and like obviously very surprised to see each other.
Yeah, so Hack, what do you do?
So wait, you climbed into a window to where?
Into the school. So like you guys are doing whatever you're doing and I snuck in and I kind of snuck up on you guys as you guys were doing whatever you're doing.
Oh, right. So what I've got is we've got this. So you've come through this main hallway into the school building, proper, and the other two have like stayed behind to hold this door. Smidge is now fucking off. Good on them. And you're now like in the school proper and have bumped into Hack there.
Yes.
Sorry. Names.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if you ran into Hack, then probably on the stairs, maybe I don't know. Hack. My thought was Hack was going up onto the roof after the scene in Sperry's room, and so he would have seen the car coming in, and so maybe he's running down now, like looking to get outside to set up a distraction, and he runs like smack into Sperry, like one of those awkward scenes where two high school students go smack around the corners to each other and then land flat.
Yeah, I love it.
and then Hack's like, Sperry, I tried to stop. I tried to stop them. We gotta go.
Me too.
We got it. They're coming in. If they come in here, if they think we live here, they're never gonna leave the school alone. We're never gonna be able to come back here. We gotta get them away. We gotta draw them off.
I agree. What's the plan?
And Hack's got his bag over his shoulder. He's like, don't know. Got to improvise. Let's go out the window. Because Hack's a parkourist, so he's gonna like go down the side of the building on the assumption that the squad is trying to get in and maybe left one person in the car. I don't know if I can see. I think let's go find a place where we can see the car.
I'll meet you downstairs. And like I just run down the stairs. Like I'm not jumping out the window.
Oh my god, that's so good. So you know how like old school buildings have like different parts of it have different levels because it's like built in.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like out the second story window onto a first story roof and then like climbing down.
Yeah. It's not actually that dramatic, especially with all the snow.
You're not diving 3 feet into the perfect.
This could have been easy. There's a lot of snow. Won't hurt. Okay. So anyway, Hack will then I guess go out the window and try and see that if he can get close to the car so that he can see the car and see what's in it.
Yeah, so I think Sperry like has a doorway out, and so you meet at the bottom. Do you? I mean, it sounds like at least you, Christo, are trying to read this situation.
Yes.
I don't know if Sperry wants to get involved with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
So,
How much longing are you spending?
I'll spend. I have a question. So, is the 0 check mark actually a longing you can spend?
No. So
Okay.
0 means you have 0. 1 means you have 1.
Okay, then I'm spending my last one.
And what do I roll?
I was going to say, Christo, you sounded like you were fearful before when you were talking about like if they find this place, they'll never leave us alone. Is that expressing that fear something that you want to mechanize, or it doesn't have to be?
Your options, I guess, are bitter, hurt, or anxious. I guess it would be closer to anxious. So yeah, I could do that. So then I take one of those one. So yeah, I balance it out.
Afraid to that. That's not a bad one. Afraid. So how many are you spending, sorry, Christo?
1.
Cool. And for yourself, Robert?
I mean, what am I rolling here?
So
is it just 1d6?
Yeah, it's going to be 1d6. So you'll roll before you roll, you'll choose how much to spend. So how much have you got at the moment?
Well, 2.
2? Cool. Are you going to spend 1 or 2 or 0?
I'll spend 1.
Cool. So you're both spending 1. So you're both going to roll 1d6. Try not to do a smidge roll. Bad for you.
I got a 4 + 1, so a 5.
Cool. So it's going to be up to Robert to save this. Otherwise, it's going to go real bad.
It's not rolling.
I've had this. So if you want to try, oh god, there's a lot of dice on there. If you want to try, like maybe select that green die and then hit the green button, the reroll selected button, that might give you a good result.
I think that just did it.
So now we're adding more dice over and over.
Well, it says the last roll was a 3.
Yeah. That's
3.
Cool, that thing I didn't. So 3 plus the 1 that you did is a 4. So you're both under 5. Is that correct?
Yep.
I'm going to clear those out because there's a lot of them there. Great. That means I get to make a move. Now, I have not made a lot of moves, so I'm going to quickly look to my MC stuff and see what I get to do. So I think there's you can see a couple of people in like what would they wear? Like suits with big heavy coats over the top of them and big thick boots, the kind of clothes that people wear when they're not from the snow, right? And they're standing around this truck, one of them smoking, and the other one is off to the side, and they're like brushing snow off something, and they pull away a little box, and they pick it up, and they like crack open the top, and you see them pull out these cans, or like unlabeled cans of food, and they look up and speak to the other one in a language you don't recognize. They put it back down, and they're like, shake it a bit, and shrug, and just like put it in their truck. And they found one of Smidge's stashed away food drops, and y'all are gonna lose one of your scrap. You're down to 2 now.
How would they ever know to check under the broken asphalt in the parking lot?
It's like you know when kids hide stuff and it's super not hidden, but they're like all about it. Oh, that's my faves. Yeah, so and I think they just like put that in there, and then the one with the cigarette like yells toward the door. It's around the corner from where you are. You can't see to who they're yelling, and you hear a yell back, and then there's a thud as some big meaty hand like raps on the door. I want to come back to Smidge and Micah. Now, Smidge, I'm not sure if you've taken off at this point, if you're going somewhere. But let's see Micah shutting this door. What does that look like? You can hear the boots on the outside as they like step up the steps, and it's that like thick, heavy, like steel capped boot sound.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the door with all its metal bits just hasn't been cared for, and the bad weather just makes it pretty immovable. So I think it's you just see the like struggle of Micah trying to shove this door closed and get it into the frame enough so that he can like pull the lock, whatever those are called. the deadlock? I don't know, I can't remember. The lock.
And as you feel the lock settle into place and click down, you hear that from the inside, the big meaty hand knocking on the door. And it's like they probably try like a couple of languages, probably like an unintelligible language, and then like common, and then like hello, open the door, in like a really butchered accent.
Mm. I think Micah just stays there. I don't even think he took his hand off the lock, and he's not saying anything, right? Because then like if he says something, then he's like for sure there. But Jen. But yeah, he's just like there. He's like still. He's like holding his breath, not doing anything, not moving, just like hoping they'll walk away, even though they probably saw him close the door.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, it's got like the there's like rectangular windows on the thing. Just before, I want to take a quick break. But just before that, I want to find out, Christo, Hack and Sperry, what's your plan out there?
Well, there are a lot more people out here than I expected. That's
Yeah.
I think the plan is going to be to go across this. Does Hack know that Sperry's house is across the street?
I don't think so. I don't think I've shared that with anybody.
Is it the closest house to where we are?
Yeah.
Then I think Hack is going to like point over there to go to get into the house. And his idea is that he's going to like throw something from that house to the vehicle to distract them to go the other way.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
But something that will give it an egress where we could go out the back of the house and over fences and away.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I think as soon as you like motion to break into the house, I'm just like, we don't need to break the window. Like it's okay.
I want to resolve this and see this scene because it's going to be awesome watching. Like, I cannot get enough of the scene of that. But what I want to do is, oh my god, we're not going to have enough time to get to everything we want. Okay, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what we're going to do next because I'm going to need to poll the room on it because there's a lot of shit going on right now and I'm all about it. So let's take the break until 1:15, so 6 minutes from now. Does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Okay, I'll see you in 6 minutes. Okay, viewers. Okay. Okay. We're back. This is going pretty well at the moment. There's a lot of good interpersonal drama. There's a lot of fun conflicts. The issue is we're going to have to pull some trauma band-aids off, and we're also going to have to, what's the other thing? Do a seance, maybe some good times. So, I think we're going to have to like cut away from this scene, unfortunately, and like wrap it and then come into the next stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to keep these guys for longer than I promised I would. Yeah, it's going to be great. So I'm super excited about this. There are a couple of things that are really coming out well from this. A lot of real good like theme and resolution and stuff like that. What I found especially more than not so much more than the last playtest, but definitely enough for me now, is that I feel like the players like really understand the tone and like really pushing for it. And hey, Darren's back. Hey, and Christo's here. Hey guys, no, it's good. It's good. I talk so that people that are watching this in the break like know where my head's at and stuff, and it's really interesting to see like how I changed how the playtest. But it's good fun. What are you thinking at the moment, Darren? Are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm thinking I wish that there were more sessions.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind to say.
Yeah, I think this, especially to wrap my head around the mechanics, because I love that it's a single dice and the modifiers are simple enough to understand. And I would like to grasp that a little better so I understood what was going on with essentially like these contested roles. I think it's really clever, and I think it's a good way to push the fiction forward without necessarily like, without the mechanics antagonizing the players. If you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. The mechanics are kind of antagonistic, but I totally understand what you're saying there. And I'm really appreciative that you're seeing a lot of that design intent in there. Like I don't feel like it's an accident, which is probably the kindest thing anyone could say about something I make.
Yeah, I think it all seems like super thoughtful. Like going through the character creation process was a hoot and a half, and like if that was the playtest, I would have been more than happy. I love a good character creation moment, and the way that this is designed and the way you had us walk through it just makes sense, and it sets up so much about the world before you even get to the map. That like everything has just been snowballing onto each other, and then the opening up, and when we finally started like getting into the game, like what do you, that's always like the question, like what do you even do really? Like you have the setup, sure, but what do you do? But I think all this stuff snowballed into mechanics that supported it so well that it's easy to be like, hey, we're gonna go steal this guy's shoes to plug a hole in the roof. And then it just is like, oh, wait a minute, there's guys outside.
Yeah.
It like gets very real very quickly, but very organically. And I think it's hitting exactly like your pitch for the game.
Thank you. That's really kind. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm a big fan of post-gen, of like burning through character creation to get to the game. But so normally I'm like, oh man, an hour and a half on character creation, like blech. But that character creation brought out so much cool, interesting stuff. You guys had so much depth of character out of character creation and I know a lot of that is player labor. I know a lot of that is you guys building on that stuff really well. But I guess it feels nice that I did something that allows you to build on it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think just the way you did it, where everything is based on choosing these adjectives, is so evocative, because like it's like relatively it's easy to be like, okay, well, how do you describe a room, right? It's like wrecked or whatever. But then like to think about like, well, what does it mean that my character has a meticulous room? It's like a more interesting question than just like, you know, putting a 2 in a stat block that represents like a chunk of their personality, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Haley hit me really hard in the first playtest with like, I don't understand what guts means. And I was like, it means like gutsy things. And she's like, this isn't effective. All right, gotcha. So yeah, that's why I'm going with it. All right, cool.
And I agree, because then you set it up for everybody to think, you know, why are you reckless? What do you do that? Why you're reckless, or why is your room spare? Right. The questions about why you chose that particular adjective are great.
Cool. Thank you. I love it. So let's do this. I want to burn through this next bit really quickly for 2 reasons. One, I want to get to the next bit, the like quiet bit, the slower pace stuff. But 2, I want to increase the tension on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to try a little thing that I've never tried in role-playing games before, but I've been wanting to do for a while, which is we're going to narrate what happens, like what our characters do in this thing, but everyone gets a sentence, and we just basically rotate. And so it's like montagey, but everyone's doing just a sentence. So it's like snapping back and forth and stuff like that. And it's okay to take some time to think. Like don't feel rushed. But like things like we sprint from here to the house is like a really good one. And then it's the next person is Micah leans his back against the wall and holds his breath. And the next one is Smidge, blah, blah, blah. And so we'll do that. Or we'll go Micah, Hack, Micah, Smidge, Sperry, and then I'll go, and then back to Hack. And we'll just keep going like that until we kind of like feel like we hit the end of this scene. Because we're going to push it so hard, I won't hit mechanics and stuff, but we'll basically be out of this scene in like a really quick montage, and then we can go on and do a seance and shit, hey? Does that sound like fun to everyone? And then we'll wrap this up on time in about 10, 15 minutes. So
I don't know if it makes sense, but I think maybe I should go first just so I can tell everybody about like my house that's right across the street.
That is a really, really, really good suggestion. So you go first, I'll go next. And then
the house you never told us about?
And yeah, I mean, I think that's my sentence is like, I live right across the street.
Great. Micah, the boots shuffle up against the door, and you can feel them pressing against the window and like looking in. Hack, you're up.
So I guess that means we're in the house?
We can be. You can pick it up wherever you want.
You said they were looking in the window. Was it the window of the house or the school?
No. Sorry, there are 2 scenes going on at the moment. One is the 2 of you running to that house. The other's them looking in Micah's in the room that Micah's defending. Yeah.
Got it. Hack crashes through the front window of Sperry's house to draw attention from the school.
Micah, what's next?
Micah has his back to the door, sliding down it slowly to get to the ground out of sight, and you see like one puff of breath come out of his mouth.
So good. Smidge.
Smidge sprints through the school, turning off the bright fluorescence everywhere they go.
Oh my god, that's so good. Far out. Sperry. Sorry, character names on the worst.
At this point, I'm just hunkering down inside my house.
They look up, and you hear in that butchered accent, like, sounds like someone's hurt, and the feet tap off down the concrete. Hack. Muted, sorry, Christo.
Hack pulls a can of some sort of flammable aerosol that he's rigged so that it can be basically flamethrower of something, not a flamethrower necessarily, but that will spew flame or explode, lights it and throws it out the window, and then grabs, if I can do a conjunction, grabs Sperry and starts running out the back.
Great.
Yes.
Micah.
I just love this moment a lot. So I think it's from outside the door looking in, you see Micah's like terrified face in the square window, and the glass just fogging up and going clear, fogging up and going clear, and then probably turns and runs like right before the cut.
I love it. Smidge.
Smidge wriggles under some shelves in a storage closet to grab a bag of tools.
Nice. Sperry.
I think as I'm being like dragged along and a firebomb is going on behind me, I'm just like, you don't understand. Like that's my mom's house. Like that's our house. Shit. We're not going to come back there, are we? Fuck. I guess we should keep running.
Micah, you see the people in the person that was at the door get in the back of the truck, and the people in the suits get in the front. And as they drive off, there's like this flash of fire that like lights up the area, and the truck sees the explosion and like peels away from it, and they scream down the road away from you. And I feel like that's probably a good resolution to that scene. Anyone have any last snaps they want to add?
I think whenever Micah comes back into the rest of the building, he finds Smidge like with a wrench trying to enact their tower defense on one of the other doors.
That's so good. That's so good. Okay, so we're going to cut away to...
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I can have one more.
Go
As Hack is like pushing and pulling Sperry out of the door, and Sperry admits that this is his house, Hack grabs like one of those picture frames that has a family picture of Sperry with his parents, and like grabs it and shoves it into his bag and keeps pushing Sperry out.
Holy shit. Christo, you're so good at this game. I love it. So let's... okay, so here's where we need to poll the room. Do we cut to you guys doing a seance, or do we cut to you celebrating?
Well, I mean, we have to have the lights out for the rest of the day because we don't want anyone to find us. So, and it's still storming outside, so it's pretty good seance weather.
I love it.
Yeah, seance.
I was gonna say, sort of one and the same, isn't it?
That very well could be. I imagine it being like a teenage slumber party, like you're all playing like Ouija board, light as a feather, shit.
Yeah, I think I'm totally like down for it, and it's seance, it's party, whatever. But yeah,
it's Ouija shots.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant.
We all have like some cans of soda, and that's like our treat because like we can't just go out and buy sodas, but we've got like a case that we keep.
I feel like we have like some alcohol that just maybe that was like buried, or maybe it was in my basement and I brought it along.
No, it was the German teacher. She had like a stash on her desk.
Oh
yeah, there's definitely both. So like what kind of alcohol does your grandmother drink, Sperry?
Johnny Walker Red.
Oh, shit, grandma's hardcore.
Yeah.
And I think that the German teacher, like, exactly, Christo, like has the vodka, there's like small flask bottles. She's just got like 4 or 5 of those in the top drawer. Which of you? I need someone to put their hand up. That's what I'm saying. I need someone to put their hand up to be the person that is running this seance.
It's Darren, isn't it? I mean, sorry, it's Micah.
Yeah, is that like the? Yeah, I think that maybe there's some family stuff, and there's just an old Ouija board that I grabbed from my house when all this shit went down.
I feel like I don't totally believe it, and I'm just like, whatever. If this makes you sleep well, we'll do it.
So that's a really interesting question, actually. Let's go around the table. We're going to start with you, Micah, because it's your thing. I want you to kind of paint the scene for us. I'm gonna start with one thing, which is the Ouija board itself. There are bits of it that are like water damaged, and you've had to draw the letters back on. You don't have that really nice like semi-triangular thing that sits in the middle. It's just like a glass, like an old glass that you've all got fingers on. So what I want to do is go around and paint the scene for us, show us what's going on there. And what I want you to express specifically is how does your character show that they really do or really don't believe in this? Start with you, Darren. What do you got first?
Okay, so yeah, it's at night. I think the storm has hit, so it's really loud with the hail. And maybe maybe there's like a space on the second or third floor. It's like a classroom or some sort of storage area that's just boarded up, so like you really can't see anything. And it's just a good enclosed space for us to feel safe after that little scare. But I think what Micah has done is that they've like, I don't think we have candles, right? But maybe in one of the science labs there were like a few Bunsen burners. So I think Micah's just arranged these Bunsen burners strategically.
So you got like big LPG gas canisters that like sit around you, and then Bunsen burners sitting. Oh god, that's
And then I think the shot we get is like Micah has set this up, and the burners are going, and Micah's like polishing the glass that they have to use. I think that shows he's like kind of serious about it. He's into it.
Beautiful. Now you were saying before that Sperry doesn't really believe in this. Like, let's see that. What does that look like?
I think I'm just at the beginning, regardless of what they want to sign on the Ouija board, because it's all fake. They're just making it up as they go. I'm just pushing it toward the yes. It's like, I just want them to know everything's going to be okay. They don't need to talk to spirits to know that everything's okay.
Oh my god, that's
like,
beautiful.
It's just, yes.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Robert, you and I can be friends. Let's go for... Oh, Jen's leaning in. She looks keen. She's on the mic. Take it, Smidge.
Smidge sits open-mouthed as with a plastic spoon halfway to their mouth, full of chocolate pudding from the gallon can on their lap, watching the planchette with like rapt attention.
Oh my god, that's so good. I love that like Smidge is usually so like concerned about presentation and like how people are perceiving them that like you just super into this. It's great. Also, I have literally no idea how big a gallon is, so I'm imagining it being like a massive drum just sitting in your lap. No.
4 liters.
Thank you.
A little bit smaller than that, but
that's cool. Oh, like a good ice cream eater. Yeah, cool. I'm on board. Christo, tell us about Hack.
I'm assuming that we've planned on doing this for a while, and Hack actually painted spots on the floor and the walls with luminescent paint that will react to a black light that might also be in it, so that we can have sort of like a mood lighting that's perfect for the seance but won't be too distracting.
Oh man, that's so pretty. And so, is that set up for other people's benefit, or does Hack believe in this and wants it to be the right setting?
I don't know if Hack knows what he believes. He might think that this just might be a subconscious thing that we can all, like, things can come out of our subconscious in this. So for instance, when Sperry's pushing to yes, Hack might actually be pushing someplace else. So it doesn't get to the yes. And he's not trying to be evil. It's just a matter of, he's doing it. If we're going to do this, if we do it, we're going to do it right? We just, let our hands do it. And so it just sort of goes not where we expect.
I love it. So when even for a moment you forget the war, everyone involved or who wants to roll plus longing spent. So it sounds like you're all involved. How much are you all going to spend? Cool. Ones. What are you thinking, Christo?
Yeah, one.
One as well? And
that's all I have. So.
That's cool. And for yourself, Robert, what are you thinking? You're muted, sorry, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to do one.
All right, so roll them bones. Darren's already saved you all and got a 7. So now the question is, does this go really well or just a little bit well?
The best seance we've ever had. Mike is like, all right, take it seriously, you guys.
I never should have doubted you. You're really good at seances.
Real good. So
take a shot.
What did you get, Robert?
I got a 5.
Oh, okay. So we're a mix. This is brilliant. I didn't expect that. So, so the 2 highest results are the ones that pick, which means it'll be Robert and Darren. When even for a moment you forget the wall, roll plus longing spent. Lower result. This isn't home, but for now it feels like it. Choose one. You remember what you're struggling for. Everyone involved can gain hope. Or this moment is simple, but the company is something else. And you can ask someone involved a question from the Feel Them Out lower list.
So who's asking the question?
Sorry, this is Robert. So Robert's going to make a decision whether you all gain hope or whether they want to ask someone a question.
Ask the question. It's a one shot.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not going to use this hope anyway, but I didn't want to influence.
Just trying to think of the right question to ask.
So have you seen the list, the Feel Them Out lower list?
No.
Cool. So you ask them a question from the Feel Them Out lower list, which is stuff like, what's your most immediate need? What's your most immediate want? What do you intend to do? How can I get you to do something? Or no bullshit, what are you really trying to tell me right now? It should be right now. I'm going to change that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask Hack, what is your most immediate need?
Ooh, good question.
And that's assuming that we're on our way out.
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because Hack's answer before was trust, and I'm wondering if that's changed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be on the way out, because if we're saying that we're drinking while we're doing this, this could easily turn into these, these half drunken conversations.
Oh yeah.
And so I think Hack would. What would Hack say? He'd say, I need to feel that I need friendship. I need to feel that what I give, I do not expect. Friendship doesn't require something in return, but it's not an equal trade, but there has to be something both ways to feel that there has to be warmth to get through this. I need friends. I need friendship. And I think he'll pull out of his bag the picture he took from your house and give it to you and say, this is, you didn't feel you could tell us that that was your house, and you could have.
It was my safe place. I'm sorry. I want to be friends with you, Hack. I think we can get along. I radiate warmth. I think we can get along. Please just stay by my side.
And I think he'll like drunkenly tousle hair and like lean up to you and say, "I got your back."
Darren, you're the higher result. In this moment, your mind travels uneasily to the things that you've lost. Choose one. You struggle to find that happiness you've lost, or you block out the feelings of loss, waste a couple of scrap on something that is both frivolous and temporary. Or, war doesn't want to be forgotten. Ask the MC how it will remind you it's close.
Well, the first one fits for a seance with Bunsen burners, but I'm going to ask you how the war reminds us it's close.
There's this really tender moment between the two of you where there's like the tussling of hair and stuff like that. And I think there's a look that passes between Smidge and Micah as well, that like you guys are not involved in this moment. They're having it, but you are there, so you're sharing in it. Speaking of which, we need to talk about Move Snowball in a sec. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Darren. And we're about to in a sec. The like right in the middle of you, over the board itself, one of the tiles slips out, and water just starts like gushing down, and it like hits one of the Bunsen burners and splashes it out, and you can hear that like hiss of gas that you know as it's no longer alight, and the others kind of like flicker in the moist air, and like it just starts. It's just coating across the ground, and your bums and your knees and everything that's like touching the ground just start to soak a little bit. And I just ruin your moment as much as I can. Now, Christo, you and Sperry, you gave Sperry that picture from his home, right? That feels to me like we should be triggering the share what little you have, this like intimacy move. Right? Now, that kind of snowball is like by design, but I would really like to see that. Do you guys agree? Would you like to roll out and we'll finish on that moment?
I agree.
Is that what happens when you do that? Because I have that. What is that called? When you make someone a personal gift.
Yeah, I mean you can do both.
So, yeah, I think I have the same thing because we're both creative.
Yeah, so I would. I mean, yeah, like that's absolutely like Sperry can definitely gain hope for that. But I think it's also worth. I think it was a big enough moment that it's worth this.
It's a share what little you have, is what you're saying?
Share what little you have.
Yeah, okay.
So how much longing do you each have?
I don't have any.
I'm at 1.
Cool. Well,
actually, I could say sad, because if the ceiling tile just broke, and I'm picturing this, I've actually seen this before, where like a ceiling tile from the rain building up, it just starts to slowly come down, bulge down, and then when it gives out is a huge wash of water.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were indicating. And so I think that's just a sad thing, is like the moment is sort of destroyed and we're scrabbling to take the Ouija board up and get everything up and out of the way. In the picture too, so that it doesn't get damaged.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a little sad. So that gives me 1, and I can spend 1 on it then.
So if you'd both like to roll +1, you are welcome to. Roll 1d6, add the 1 that you're spending.
I think I got a 4 again, +1 is 5.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, I got a 5.
Cool. So I don't want to make an MC move to finish it off because that's usually more for like generating fiction. So what I'll say is, hey, Christo, you spent 2 longing and you got a 6 instead. Because it's going to resolve better for the end of this. It's a playtest. I do what I want.
Well, there's also usually an MC move you can like take it, you can give them more what they want.
That's
they can
true.
Take it to an extreme.
That is true. Actually, I can do that.
You can.
I'll just do it this way because it's easier. So Robert, you're going to be the lower result. So when you share what little you have, roll plus longing spent. On the lower result, they open themselves up to you in a way they haven't before. Choose one to ask someone with whom you shared or share.
Why did you say that picture?
Oh, so have you got the questions in front of you? So on the moves list, under share what little you have, there's a series of questions.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. I just want to test these out and make them work. That's probably good on a, yeah.
No, what are they? Sorry.
How do you show me what makes me special? How do you show me where you see us after the war? How do you show me what I can do to make you happy? How do you show me what makes you feel beautiful?
Ooh,
how do you show me the part of you the war is left unchanged?
How do you show me what we can be after the war?
How do I show you what we could be after the war? I think what he does is actually he pulls. No, it doesn't work with the name I gave him. I guess it could. He had around his neck a chain, maybe a gold chain, and it had maybe a hand of Fatima or something like that with the Arabic script on it. And I think he takes it off, and he like drunkenly puts it around your neck and says, and tells you, and he says, where I come from, this means that we will always be connected. This is sort of a symbol of it's not just sharing; it's sharing something very close with you, and so that you will always know that I am with you.
That's what everybody says before they lose me. Please, like, hold my hand. Just, I don't want to be without you.
Christo, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tears. Okay. I think Hacks like looks at you and he's like, and he goes in for a bear hug. Yeah.
Just this is fucking perfect, by the way, because the trigger for yours, Christo, is you're opening up so much and they're holding back. Aren't you enough for them? Choose one to ask someone with whom you share.
Ups. Ooh, how do you show me who you'd rather I was?
That's a question for me. You remind me of my dad. You're extremely strong. You hold up the whole house. Every building you're in, you hold up the building. I can't be in a building without you because you hold up the building.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was laughing because of Darren's comment.
I think it's that like tense laughter that's coming out. After you've resolved any questions, you both gain hope and discuss if this has changed the way you understand each other. if it hasn't changed the way you understand each other, you've become closer to someone, so you fulfill your longing and you set your longing to 0. If it does change the way you see each other, change your. I have heard people call me trigger.
I've heard people call me reckless. Yeah, because I think it's changed it because I think the fact that Sperry didn't dig into me for going into his house showed more trust and caring than I guess I might have expected from the person that made me sleep on the floor. It's interesting. So you're saying that then what you do is you change. What are the 2 options? I've heard people call me.
Yep.
Gets
so
changed,
if you so if that's changed, then change it to what it should be, to what you think it's more like now. If not, you've gotten closeness from someone, so your longing goes to 0. And either way, you gain hope.
I don't know if any of the other ones really fit the way I'm seeing hack. Unless I guess I could say that if it's flipping into sort of clingy.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not about how you see hack; it's about how people see hack, which is like if you're saying no, hack's becoming close to people, that's clingy. Like, yeah. Which it's super loaded. I know it's super loaded, but it's meant to be.
Right. Sure. No, that actually fits.
And your longing trigger changes to when I feel abandoned.
Oh.
Because you're clingy AF.
Yeah, and that fits in with like the whole trust friendship issues. So that's
So what about yourself?
That works.
Robert, do you think this has changed the way that people see Sperry?
I think it definitely changed the way that he's seen me. Other people might notice that we're a little bit closer. He kind of saved my life in a number of ways. I mean, he saved my life physically, but also mentally. I owe everything to him. So, yeah, I think people probably notice that.
Right.
The fact that I'm just doting over him.
Yeah. So at the moment you've got reckless as your. I've heard people call me. What do you think that changes to from that list?
I think the only thing reckless drives with me is I'm still looking at the other people that we've kind of been with, and I'm like, well, he's changed me, but what could they do? Kind of like I could jump boats. I could leave and just do my own thing.
I love it. Okay, I'm super on board for that. And so I think we leave that moment with the storm raging outside, the weather like pouring in through the roof, the broken roof, and people trying to like pick up and salvage the good stuff that's on the ground, the Ouija board, the gas, the Bunsen burners, the pudding, the 72 liters of pudding. And I think that is the scene that we see as it like fades out and the thunder rolls through. And if people want to take a minute or two just to like step away, refresh, then we can come back and have a bit of a debrief. Does that sound good to everyone? All right, so a minute to take the time you need, but I'm going to be just chilling here because you guys did all the hard work. I just watched.
I need to just like go to bed after that.
Yeah.
Fall asleep.
I've got a day to do after this. It's only like 3 o'clock.
We'll BRB.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh man. For those listening, this is a game. This is a game that has a lot of feelings in it. We're gonna have to talk about some feelings. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited.
No, I watched Hex go.
Yeah.
And I thought you were good. And it was like, now I got to play a game with you, and it was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, man. That's really, really kind to say, and I'm absolutely blown away at like how much agency you had, like in a really, really good way. Like a lot of people can be like super shy on their first kind of games, but you really asserted your voice, and I really liked that. And I think you within good scope.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was my first time really playing one of these games.
Wow, you really rocked it.
Yeah, dude. You and Christo, do you remember the first time we played with Ryan? Were you there for that one, the Dogs in the Vineyard one?
Oh, was he in the game that? So I was with Yoshi and
Shane and
Shane.
Oh no, you weren't that one. No,
I didn't think I was with Ryan.
Yeah, I think Stephen Humphries was in that one too. The first game I played with Ryan, I was like, this dude knows what's what, and I get the same feeling from Robert, which is great. So I love seeing that.
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. And then we had Ryan running games within like 2 months, so you should together.
I would love to run games. Holy crap!
We'll get you there. We'll get you there.
Yeah, Christo's a really good, like Mandatory Fun Club and Christo and all that sort of stuff. Really useful tools for that. Oh my god. Okay, when the others come back, we'll do Stars and Wishes for like a player debrief for players debrief, and then we'll do a system debrief separately. I think. I don't know what everyone's timeline looks like. We'll check that first as well.
Question. I didn't use Stash. Was that like something like if we suddenly wanted to have something, is that what Stash is for?
Yeah, that's a really good use for it. At the moment, Stash is used in one move, which is Escape the City. When you leave, you roll plus Stash spent. So the idea is that while Scrap is really fluid and you move through it all the time, Stash is like something that you take, and once you take it, it's there. But it's really big investment because you have to take 4 Scrap to make it. So it's like you've got to screw everyone else over, but you need to do it to get out.
Yeah, but I think we didn't really use Scrap.
No, it's more of a 3-4 session sort of thing.
Yeah.
Scrap kind of, you use it at the start, and it's a good pressure point, and it's a good thing for like to make you do things as players. All right, we'll talk about system in a sec. I want to talk about player side stuff first. So thank you all for playing with me. That was a blast, and I have feelings now. We're going to do a debrief format called Stars and Wishes. If it sounds like something that you would do in kindergarten, that's because it is. Stars and Wishes goes like this. We go around and you can give someone a star. You can do a couple of stars if you want, but I think you're a cheater every time you do. Because everyone always wants to do the same thing. Stars for everyone. We all know that everyone was awesome. Pick something good and highlight it. So Stars and Wishes are like, stars are a gold star for something that you really liked. I will let Christo go first because you've done this before. Actually, Darren, you've done it before as well. I know you have. So Christo,
I've got 2 stars. I want to give a star to Jen for Smidge, because I thought it was really great to have a character that was cautious and the running around, shutting down the fluorescent lights, the stashing things around the school like a squirrel, and the way that all tied in with your character was great. And then Rob for the touching moments with Sperry that I didn't actually expect, because I was expecting more conflict potentially with Sperry, especially when I slammed through the front window of Sperry's house. So stars for that. Wishes.
We'll do stars first, and then we'll go into wishes.
Oh, okay.
So keep thinking. It sounds like you're thinking on your wish anyway, so keep thinking on it. Darren, do you want to bring out the stars next?
I would love to. I feel personally called out that I can only give 1 star, but I'm going to stick to it. That's the rules of our engagement. I want to give a star to what's the one thing I want to highlight? I hate this. I hate it. I think, all right, I'm going to give 1 star to the table for buying in to the emotional play and really fucking going for it, because we all did do that really well. And I think that buying into the game setup, like really made this little thing fly and sing and all those good stuff. So that's my 1 star.
That is the best cheat I've ever seen. Well done, Darren. Thank you. Jen, do you want to give us a star?
Yeah, I want to give a star to the to Christo for the detail with the family photo. That was spot on.
Absolutely seconded. Robert?
I want to go start also to Christo. Like, that was amazing. Like, tying me in, like, family wise and everything else. It made it really cool. But also, Sid, you are amazing. So,
well, we're just going to leave it at amazing. You don't want to throw in some details. That's fine.
Else.
Well, I could. I mean, every time you drop details, every time you interject, you don't interject when it's dumb. You know, you interject like and tell us like, here's what it is, and it's really cool every time. And I'm really glad that you did one that I can actually attend. So.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome. I've been trying to do that more and more lately. Is like interject less and less and let players run things. And this is a really good game for that, which I love. My star, Robert, you and I have already spoken, so I'm not going to star you, but you know how I feel. Dog, I have to give mine to Darren because we've played Veil 2020 together, and I know how well you managed your tone, and you just hit it so perfectly, and it was so like it was so intentional. And it gave so much to the table, and I'm really grateful that you did that. And that, like, I made the joke about I will tone police you, but I super fucking would have, and you know that I didn't have to. So I'm really grateful for that. It was an awesome.
Well, thank you.
Pleasure. I would give everyone stars if I could, but I gotta stick with this. We're gonna do wishes now. Wishes are things that you would like to see in the future. They're not really as relevant in one-shots like this. And again, we're not talking about system, we're talking about players and like environment and stuff here, that sort of thing. Wishes can also be things that like you wish you got resolution to, or like bits of character that you wish you saw. Christo and Darren will give you really good examples, but I'm just trying to think of how we can be productive with these without them being because it's a one shot and we're not going to see these characters again. Christo, why don't you lead us off with your wish and show us how it's done?
I wish we'd managed to bring in the things waiting outside the city more. Because we all had them, I think, in our minds, which helped shape our characters, but we didn't actually play into, the dramatic older sister, the assertive grandmother, or the artistic little brother. So next time.
Darren, what do you got?
I would have liked to see or I would wish to see more of the special moves. I don't know what to call them, but when you involve someone in those moves, I think we saw that kind of incidentally with the personal gifts. But like, I think creating the ritual just takes a little bit more setup on my part, and otherwise, yeah, it just would have been nice to see those more on screen.
Yeah, cool. Totally dig. Jen?
I would have liked to see, and I think it makes sense why this happened, but I would have liked to see more of all 4 of us interacting at the same time. I think we split off into duos pretty quickly. And even in the final scene, because of the way that role worked. was sort of 2 and 2. And I'm just curious how like all of them would be all giving each other shit.
Yeah, that's a really, really cool point. I will talk more about that in the system debrief, I think. That's a really interesting point. What do you got?
I mean, kind of like Jen, I also thought we should just interact as a team, especially with the map drawing. I thought that was like meant to draw us in, and instead it kind of sort of put us apart, because it's like, you're here, we're here, how do we get together? Yeah.
Yeah, I dig. Cool. My wish is that I wish every playtest could be as good as. No, in reality, my actual wish is that I can run another playtest in the time zone that fits for you guys, because I think that you all hit the tone really well and understood the game really well, and I'd be interested to see if I make changes to the system to facilitate your play, how well that is supported. Because I thought you guys nailed it so much. Or you'll nail it so much. I wish I didn't say you guys so much. I'm trying to get out of that habit. I've said it 3 times in this thing, and I fucking hate it. So, yeah. That's
I could wake up at like 6 a.m. on weekends. I don't mind. I will play with you.
We'll do that another time, for sure. Absolutely. 6 a.m. on weekends, your time, is like 11 p.m. my time. So it'll be more like 4 a.m. Yeah, it's the worst.
Well, I know. That's what you scheduled some of them for.
5 a.m. feels is absolutely what we should call this. Oh, yes. I'm all about it.
I did that with Lauren and Kyle and Ari, I think.
Was that for the Veil? Yeah. Lucky you.
We were joking about 5 a.m. feels.
that is a superstar cast for feels, by the way.
Oh my god, yeah, it was amazing.
I have to say, like, not present company excluded, because you guys are real good at it, and Darren in Vale, the whole chat thing is going lit. But ASPAC is such a good community for like chat feedback and supporting and stuff like that. They're all really big on like
I always like, whenever someone posts something, I really want to like RSVP, but like I don't want to take the spot when like there are other people in the ASPAC region. So I wait and I hit that first wait list every single time.
Oh my god, I love you. Brilliant.
God, meanwhile, I'm like, I could call off that day and then like,
it's worth it.
So let's talk about my design goals. So let's talk about. Oh, by the way, so that was personal debrief. Remember, we're still recording at this point. Does anyone have any safety stuff they want to bring up in this environment? Otherwise, I will give you another chance when we stop the broadcast. Cool. On board. So, start here. My playtest goals for this one was I want at least 2 scenes of players referencing history. I want 1 maximum roll and 1 0 roll, and I want no more than 1 dead end roll. So this is really interesting because we didn't hit all of those, and I want to talk about why. Almost every time people were like, with longing, I'll spend 1. Why was that? I don't think anyone ever spent more than 1.
For me, that was because I never had more than 1. I think it took me a while to understand that longing was just sort of a thing I could take when it could, like, I felt like I needed to check in every time, which was clearly not the case.
So do you think that is, do you think the longing triggers aren't broad enough? Do you think you didn't hit the trigger enough, or do you think that it wasn't clear that it was like your decision and you could do it on your own and just build it up?
I think the latter, and I don't know if that's just because like I like powered like Apocalypse Gangs. I assume that everything sort of, I don't know, like that's just like a mechanic that I haven't seen before. So I'm not used to having a thing that I can just collect at will.
Yeah, Christo, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but Liberté, which started that system, has the same problem, which is that it's very unclear when you kind of can and how you should communicate that with people. And it's a bit of a system mastery thing. Like if we played again, you guys would be stacking it up and you'd be hitting chat all the time and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
collected 3.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think I need
it's,
to be more clear on that.
or somebody needs to provide examples of it. So you need to see more people using it to get the ball rolling, to see how it can be used.
So
yeah, I don't think I had 1 or 2 places where I could have spent 2, but it was the sort of thing I was saving a little bit because I didn't think that the roles in particular were very critical.
Interesting.
So I was okay with having a negative. I was okay. I wasn't like, okay, I think this character's gonna get killed here if I don't succeed on this roll, which I would have blown everything on that, right? But and I was okay to see. I wanted to see how the misses worked.
Okay, cool. So that's a real. Lou and I talk about that a lot. That's a real problem with PBTA where you're like, misses are also fun, so let's do that. So I think I need to more implicit stakes for misses. So I need to be better at that.
I feel like you didn't go hard enough.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I was
because I wanted to fall in love with Hack and die trying.
Oh, that would have been. Well, that would have been awesome.
And that's the thing is that like you can only go so hard when you're playing an hour and a half of game or an hour and 45.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't. I can't start with okay.
Yes.
Hack gets, well, actually, that's not true. I can start with Hack gets shot through the fucking shoulder, but so one of the things I didn't put in my design goals, my playtest goals, is that in the first playtest the threat was always explicit violence, and in this playtest I wanted the threat to be stuff that wasn't violence. So it's the storm rolling in. It's like I wanted the thunder to be stuff that wasn't people have guns and are going to shoot you. Even the people in the truck are like explicitly like they're wearing suits and like they're not carrying guns. They're not in militaristic clothing, that sort of thing. Like I didn't know who they were, but they could have been traders. They could have been MSF, like doctors. They could have been whatever, right? But because you were rewarding them, I didn't have to come up with that. So that's good. So yeah, that's I need more clear that longing is something you can do on your own. Examples and prompting to begin, and then I need more explicit stakes for misses to generate threat. Okay, cool. That's really interesting. I don't think we had any dead end rolls, which was good. So let's talk about players referencing history. Who felt like the history questions they answered really informed their play? I mean, like really helped them figure out how they interacted with other characters.
Like during character creation?
Yeah, more so in the bridge. So like between when you first started playing and you thought, how does my character interact with this character? Did that feel informed by history?
Well, I thought that my character, loving his little brother, and then Hack, taking the picture and bringing it to me, like that meant a lot.
Yeah, and that was the same for me because Sperry made me promise to look after something very special to them, and that thing was a newspaper clipping with his brother. So we didn't get into why, but that sort of put that connection there right away.
Yeah, but you understood that his brother is important.
Yeah, that was really cool, but we never got a scene about it, which is a shame. I mean, again, the product of only having an hour and a half to play, but it would have been great to have a scene about that newspaper clipping.
Sure, but it played into, I think taking I didn't even think of it consciously, but I think it played into Hack wanting to take that picture for Sperry.
Yeah, I think otherwise you wouldn't have, and that's awesome.
Cool. I definitely should have. Having someone's home there and having like that home under threat is a big point I shouldn't miss next time, because that was really good. And Christo did the labor and was like, I grabbed the picture and I was like, shit, I should have been all over that. Like I should have been thinking about that. What about yourself? I was about to call you Smidge. What about yourself, Jen? Did you feel like it helped?
I think with Micah it really helped. since I decided sort of at the end of character creation that my secret was just that I was in love with Micah, and then I followed Micah around like a lost dog the whole time, and watched these other people have a romance.
That was so good. Like they got to have the romantic moment. You didn't. I should have, and that would have been a cool thing to hit as well. So there's something to that.
If only we had another session.
If only, right? What are you guys doing for the next 3 hours? I did again. 4. What are you all doing for the next 3 hours? Now, Darren, I don't think I've asked you. What did you think about your history questions?
I think this is just a personal problem with PBTA style history questions. I forget about them immediately. And then it's a good thing later on if I'm like, oh, like 5 sessions in, or, you know, where I'm like, why am I saying this to them? And then I'm like, oh yeah, these history questions. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why my character doesn't like you. But it's never.
I never let you forget that you put me on the floor.
Yeah, and as a player, I never realized that. Seriously, right after we did it, I forgot. I completely forgot. So I think mostly this is on me as a player, but like
no,
in 2 sessions.
Like, I think Micah would have forgotten that also. Like Micah just didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Probably would have. But I think I still like having history there for later sessions, because then me as a player could have realized you said that, but then also it still could have kept coming up, and then they're like, oh yeah, duh. Okay, wait a minute. Let me like actually work that into my player or my character. So I don't know. I think I'm ambivalent. I like it as an exercise, but I think in game and session and play, me personally doesn't do anything for it.
Cool. One of the options I was talking about with Ryan, is that Free is allowed to just get out of the way and be forgotten, as long as it inspires you in that creation phase and helps you get to grips with like how in that first scene do you play your character. But that's the thing. That's why I don't have it as a stat. That's why you don't roll plus hex, because I don't want to go back to it like that mechanized. But yeah, interesting idea. I'll have a ponder on that, because it might just be that it's okay for you, Darren, as like one player, if that happens to you in all of your PBTA games. If these ones you were like, look, these particular questions were forgettable, then fine. Let's talk about the value of the map. Did anyone find the map valuable in either building the city or anything like that? Robert,
I did. Yeah.
Do you want to speak to that a bit?
I thought the map was awesome. I mean, just being able to like, where do you like? I kind of let everybody else do the heavy lifting and say, here's where the location is, you know, and they all said, it's a high school. I was like, well, I'm right across the street from the high school, which is the thing. Like, I personally live right across the street from my high school. So,
boy.
Yeah. So, like, to me, like, that was awesome. And it's like, yeah, you could just go right across the street and you could jump the fence and do whatever you need to do. You could steal whatever you need to steal. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Did anyone not find it valuable?
I'm generally not, like, maps don't do a ton for me. And I just think since, like, the park didn't come in at all, though it was, I think, like, picking a location was really helpful to me, like, having that sort of character building of, like, what kind of place would be important to Smidge. But I just didn't, it would be like the kind of thing that would come in on a longer game, but just didn't come in on this one.
Christo, Darren, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Jen on that. I love a map. I love a good map. I love drawing a map. And a one shot, it didn't do too much for me, right? Because kind of what we already established, we were like, okay, here's the thing, and like now we're setting scenes here. But I would love to see the map grow over like 5 more, 10 more sessions. And I'd love to have the time to look at it and be like, hey, wait a minute, why? Let's go to the park. Let's find out what's there. Or like, let's go scavenge some stuff from that art session, from the art store.
Yeah, I mean,
So I like the possibilities.
like that's what I thought too, is like we should take that map and grow it.
And the other thing, I mean, I couldn't see the map, so I couldn't really play into that at all. But the other thing, it's a great hook to get people in and invested. There's also something with a hard move you could take away. So you could like
shit, yeah.
suddenly the park is bulldozed.
Yeah.
You know, Sperry's house is blown up. That all can happen, and you can show it on the map.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think I really like the map, but every time we spend 20 minutes on it and not framing scenes, I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, and I know.
Well, I have a question for you. Whenever you do a one shot, like, and I just went through this at DexCon, which was the first time at a con I ran one shots, and it comes down to what am I going to cut out of the game to show what I consider the hottest parts of the game, because you can't do it all. So I was running Urban Shadows, so I took out the starting move. I'm not going to do that because that takes time. It puts so many threads in that I can't use it in a one shot anyway. So that's the collaboration map may not be the best thing in a one shot unless you're going to focus it on that. But in a longer campaign, it could have a real value. Or in a one shot, if you're going to make sure that that is front and center to the players, this is what we're, you know, that I'm going to hit this and that and the other. But the other thing is, generally I'm a visual person, so for me a map and knowing what is in relation to what is helpful. So I would usually use something like that. It's a good. Different people need different story prompts, and this is a pretty cognitive loaded scenario, as in you're building these characters, and then it's almost like go. So therefore, the more tools the players can have. For some, I guess it might be distracting. For me, they can be tools for me to pull together. Okay, this is what I want to do. And I think this is what Darren did, because Darren like ran with the whole thing about fixing up the school because of the storms and whatnot.
Yeah, it gave me like a point of reference completely.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's valuable. It's just a matter of figuring out for a one shot where the reference would be. And I would strongly recommend for your game that you define what's a good way, what's the best way you've seen for running a one shot with it as compared to a campaign, because that really helps in games if they can lay that out for the GM so that they can help make it sing in a one shot.
I'm muted, sorry. I think if I was running a one shot, I would have an existing map. Like I would use this map again for the next one shot kind of thing. And be like, pick a location, or I'd put like maybe 8 locations on the map and be like, pick one that's important to you and that sort of stuff. But and tell me why. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. Very, very interesting idea. Because I think you're right. It feels like it's taking up too much time because I'm so limited. But when I do the 3-episode run for this in August, I think it'll be useful, because that's like 6 times the amount of playtime we got today. So we got about an hour and a half today, and that'll have, if with an hour and a half of character creation again, we'll have that, and then 2 more sessions afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it is. Oh, it looks like okay. So now I got to see where we were. That's because have you ever played Companion's Tale?
No.
And it's all built on that you're building. Each of the players is playing not the main character, not the hero of the story, but a companion.
Mm-hmm.
And each turn you have a different role. So if somebody adds an event to the map, somebody adds a place to the map, and then somebody adds a cultural item, and somebody adds a tradition or what it was. But so the map is central to it, and it really builds. It's really interesting how it actually does turn into a story or a counter story to the heroic story, which is really interesting. That's so the maps can really be part of the story or a springboard, and it's just so it's certainly there as a great tool.
Cool. All right. I think I think you're right. I think I need to see it in a campaign play to see value from it. That's okay. Cool. So I think that's my questions. Yes, I think so. Does anyone? Oh, the duos. I want to bring up duos that that Jen brought up for us because that's really interesting. Part of the structure of the game is that you can roll together in 4s, but in the end, you're always resolving in 2s, which means that you can often form duos even if you don't mean to. Part of it I'm okay with because like the fluidity of those duos is important to me. So like you two are a duo, and then one person goes from there to someone else, and then they become a duo. And that's like, this is just my non-monogamous nature talking, but like that's like part of the design is like, you know, you can be intimate over here and then go and help someone fix a window together and be a team over there, and that's okay. But I do worry that it's going to, I think it's something to keep an eye on is whether it stops people from doing 4-ship conversations where you're all super together.
It did get sort of clicky, and I started picking up on that we ended up being paired, which should be, you know, that would happen in a movie also. So that can be okay, but so has that happened in other playtests where it's split in pairs like that?
No, in the previous playtest, actually, honestly, I thinking about it now, I can't remember, which means that I wasn't looking for it. So that'll be something to put in my next playtest goal is like, do clicks form, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about it, but that was kind of a big deal that, you know, we did split into 2 groups of 2.
But is that a problem that you're then a group of 4 with like these 2 really close bonds, and then next episode you start it with everything's thrown around a bit?
It was like 2, 2, and 1, and we never really got together or got back together.
Yeah, which I think might be a function of time. Jen, what have you got there?
Yeah, I think like a next session that would be a really interesting dynamic. Yeah. I guess I would just want to like know that there was some sort of, and maybe it's just the like GM's prerogative, but something to like make sure that those groups have to mix up in some sort of way where like they may not be close friends, but they have to interact with each other and feel that through.
I think that part of it will get supported just from the mechanics too, because I think that'll be like a mastery trick. Because I think for a one-shot, I think it is just a function of time, and I think for a one-shot, it was easier for us to be like, okay, well, we're gonna go do things. But if we have more time and then familiarity with the system, I think we would want to position ourselves so we're all making decisions together, so we can use more dice, more rolls like that.
Yeah, and as the grind starts to like wear you down in terms of hope, you then have to be like, oh, I can give people hope really easily by like having this intimate moment with them where I touch them. So I just want to do that. Maybe there's something with that. Maybe there's something to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe as you learn the strategy of the game better, it encourages you to interact with everyone at once.
Yeah. I don't want this to get to like the burning wheel defense of like, no, but the game's super good once you've put 47 hours into it. But at the same time, like maybe there's something to that. Like the mechanics mean something, so you need to understand the mechanics before you can do the things they mean. Maybe.
In the defense of this, it's far simpler than Burning Wheel. I think if we had another session, just this group, I think we would have gotten that.
Absolutely, and I'll hit you all up for that next week. So let's talk about core loop. Did that kind of make so the idea of longing as a stat and the idea of like opening yourself up and that sort of, did that make sense by the end of it?
It made sense at the beginning, but I don't think we ever really touched on it.
Okay.
You know, we constantly asked, you know, what is longing again? because it was just, I mean, I hate to say it, but like it was a meaningless stat.
Okay.
I think the disconnect for me was that longing as a concept is bad, and then as a mechanical piece it's good. So you like me as a player, I wanted to build up longing, but narratively it didn't. There was like dissonance there because I I shouldn't want that, even though it's something that'll happen naturally, right? As like both a human condition and as a mechanical condition. So I think it was just hard to grasp it as a currency, and also as like I'm feeling worse in this world in a way.
Okay, so oh, sorry, Jen. Go.
I really liked how it rewarded me for being terrible.
Darren, you're not wrong. The problem is that's what I want it to do. I want it to feel dissonant. I want it as a player to drive you to be like, oh, I have to be like a little shit. Like I have to be, as Jen was just saying, like I get rewarded for making Smidge be like a little shit and be all anxious and like jittery, and I get rewarded for putting myself in over my head. Like the economy is thus. Players have to put themselves in bad decisions, have to put their characters in bad positions in order to get the stat to get themselves out of bad positions. That's the whole like secret of it. And it is dissonant, but instead of removing that dissonance, what I want is a way to push through that dissonance. So I want a way to express to players, hey, this is going to feel like a bad thing. That's the point. That's where the drama's coming from.
Yeah, maybe it's just as a player, right? And your games, what other games are set up to reward like a bad part of like interaction, right? I'm following what you're saying. I think I'm getting what you're saying. I think that's hard from the player side, just because it seems backwards. Like I should be getting the good things. Overall, I like it.
Yeah.
I've in the games I've GM'd, I've always had a really hard time like getting players to do like dramatic irony, do stuff that is sort of counter to their goals, and I really like having it sort of coded in that way that communicates that.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted to ask Christo specifically, mate. You've run Liberté, which does the same thing, you know. So in Liberté for your you're playing young children, like you're playing 6s to 9s young children, and you take the stat which is black bile when you like are emotionally grumbling up with stuff. And it's the same spend and receive mechanic. But what do you think, Christo, in terms of expressing to players, black bile comes about because of bad things, but you're doing it?
Yeah, well, in that one though, in Liberté, it's more because of what happens to you that you get black bile, right? When you get humiliated, lose control, and so that comes at you. But it's the same sort of problem of getting, if you remember when we played it the first time, getting the players to understand that transaction is actually hard and sort of counterintuitive to the way that most games go. And so I was thinking about it, and I was trying to remember, how much did you ask us for this game? What would have worked, I think, was as a GM saying, okay, so this just happened. How did that make you feel? And I think you did it a couple times, but I guess it has to come back harder to say, if it made you, are you feeling hurt? And you did. I remember you did do it, and I'm trying to, maybe this is a better question for the other players. Did you notice Sid doing that?
Yes.
I think that was part of why I was confused about when I could take it, is because you asked us that at the beginning, and then I sort of assumed that we were just supposed to wait until it was asked. So a combination of both, maybe.
Yeah. I think it happened once.
Yes, I think that's just an expression thing where I need to be like, hey, that sounds like you're being anxious, Smidge, are you? And you're like, yeah, and I'm like, cool. Don't wait for my authority. If you feel a way, just take it and put it in chat. Like, it's you. It's up to you. It's your responsibility. And I think it is. I think the system, as I said to Darren about not being wrong about the dissonance thing, I think the system is fine. I think it's the expression of the system that's the problem at the moment. I think I'm not presenting it with enough clarity. And maybe it takes play, which is fine. It just means that we play for 10 minutes and I go, okay, stop here. We're going to talk about this, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, not going to tell you how to fix it. Never mind.
No, please do. Please. I was a joke. I'm sorry. And it was a bad joke. But
no, it's totally valid. But because I'm trying it back, just so you know, I'm pulling it back to my issues when I try and run a Liberté and how to make it go better. But you have one thing here that is not in Liberté. There is something similar, but I don't think it plays the same way. With your history questions, for a one-shot, if the questions were geared to some specific emotional, something that would potentially generate longing, you could play into that almost immediately to have people build up.
Oh shit, that's really smart. Oh my, all right. So Christo, people answer history questions, and at the end of it, you say to them, so when that happened, how did you feel?
Exactly.
And if it's a negative emotion, you go, hey, remember your trigger is this. Maybe you should take some, and then that way people start with a couple in the bank as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a tutorial level. It's a tutorial level for.
And it doesn't cost them anything. There's no, and it starts them down the path of expressing their feelings. So, and if I remember the way Vivian ran the game, he put us into those situations very fast. Or we put ourselves into them where we were getting humiliated immediately. Which is the trigger in that game for how you get the black bile.
Yes. Cool. Tutorial of history questions, feeding into longing triggers.
And that reminds me of one other thing I was thinking. As we were playing, I was thinking, I want one more history question because I need to bring Smidge in. Because I didn't have Smidge.
Look, you're not wrong, but I didn't want to do it because otherwise it becomes meaningless. As soon as you have 3, you just assign 1 to everyone. What I wanted was 2, build some connections, get out of the way, form relationships later. Like it's not.
I get that.
It's like the stars thing. As soon as you give 1 to everyone, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Cool. So let's talk about the roles and the moves and stuff like that. How did people feel about the text of the moves and how the moves interacted with the fiction? I mean, Smidge had enough personality that everyone just like built relationships immediately, and it was too hard not to. So.
I think I almost didn't even look at the rules or the moves. It's like I will just say what I want to do, and you'll correct me. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the game.
People of PBTA that should be, and that's my goal, is that it should be functional that way. Was there ever a point where you were like, I feel like I should be rolling dice now, but I'm not?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I don't know.
Cool. Thanks. Other people? Text questions, stuff like that?
I think that maybe it's just because I kind of glanced at it and didn't sit down and read the rules, because I think the setup for the text and the results and low roll high versus high roll makes sense, but I think that it's hard to track unless we have you saying there being okay, you're gonna read from the low list and you're gonna read from the high list, which is kind of fine because a lot of times PBTA GMs will do that anyway because people usually don't read the rules, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't easy to skim, I think is basically what I'm saying.
I previously had done PDFs in Scribus and stuff like that, but it's so hard to edit that I'm just leaving it in Google Docs during playtest phase. There's probably a lot of layout stuff there I could fix. Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I'll have to look into that when I start doing layout. There are a couple of times people expressed like satisfaction with the choices on the list and stuff like that. Was there any time that you looked at the choices on the list and were like, oh, this is balls. This is bad. None of these are interesting.
I mean, I was happy to see it wasn't just a copy and paste from Apocalypse World,
Me too. And I was looking at it, I was thinking, okay, do I want to use this question just for something fun and spiteful, or do I want to use this question to actually get something useful for the game? It's like, oh yeah, fun and spiteful. I want to know what he's feeling or why he's doing this, or completely irrelevant. And then it played out, because of the players, everybody could play into it. It worked. So yeah, no, I like the questions. I thought they were good. It had good variety. It was the sort of thing I'm looking through the list, like, oh, I want that one and I want that one.
That's a good loop for me to get that feeling where you're like, oh, I want two of them, but I don't know which one it is. That's really good.
I like that the roles to the low versus high weren't just like the same question, just opposed, right? Like they were actually two unique lists that had two separate purposes. Yeah, that was good. Everything was very interesting.
My favorite thing is that sometimes when Jen moves ahead because of the pictures behind her, it looks like she has cat ears. That's my fave thing. So yeah, I was really happy with it. I loved the snowball of like forget the war into sharing what little you have. Like that's always a really nice one for me to see like that move come up in the middle of other moves. Makes me really happy. The resolution loop's a little bit long, but I think it's effective. I think that's also a function of not knowing the system. It was really important to me, Darren, to have what you said, which is it's not just a copy-paste of Apocalypse World. This is a whole new kind of thing, because it's trying to do different things. I couldn't just be like, go aggro, because then you'd all be violent. I didn't want you to be violent. Yeah.
Question for the other players. So did any of us look at the moves? Because I was like, okay, yeah, I see this sort of thing. This is powered by the apocalypse, so I'll just say what I want to do, and we'll see what comes out of it. And that's
I did not.
Okay, and that worked. I mean, I didn't. In some games, you have to look at the moves because you're trying to figure out what can I trigger. Because sometimes you're not going to trigger everything. But
yeah, I asked early on, like, if can I just do it or tell you what I want to do, and you tell me what I need to roll? And he's like, yeah, cool.
So sorry, Sid, we put the load on you.
No. It's because that's perfect, and that's a really good question because I should know that because that is functionality. Like the ability to just play the game without reading the rules is a feature, not a bug. Now, the thing is, if we did that and you were like, I steal the soldier's rifle and I shoot them, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a move for that. Like that would have shown a problem. But I feel like I had, when you guys said you wanted to do a seance, when you said you wanted to have moments of like happiness where it wasn't there, I was like, oh, I've got moves for this. I think the only thing I don't have is like ripping the Band-Aid off, but maybe that's a cool thing. Maybe that's a fictional thing. I don't know. I might look into that as a move. It's interesting. Like when you force someone to confront their trauma.
Ooh. I do really like your naming for all of the moves is really evocative of what the tone of the game is and like what you should be expecting. I think that combined with like you're not fighters, you're just trying to survive. Like those two were really keys for me to understand what the setting of the game was.
Yeah, that's the big thing is the reason that moves are there. I will talk about this for hours if I can. The reason that moves are there is that they give you scope, and that's why like Monster Hearts works the way it does. You guys don't have to read the moves, but if you do, it should tell you how to play the game correctly very quickly. So that's the idea, and it's good to know, Jen, that you had that feedback.
I read the moves. I like to have the moves up just because it helps me like position what I'm doing for exactly what we've been saying, what Jim pointed out. It just keeps me in that headspace. It helps me with my tone usually. I think what I would like to see, though, if this is useful, is if, and I just don't remember, I don't have the moves up list anymore, but if there was some sort of like evocative string of text to be like, when you do this, you're forgetting about the war or something like that. Something like that, if that makes sense. Because that usually helps me angle what I'm doing at the mechanics.
Are you talking about like examples in there, or are you talking about like, what do you mean by that string of text? Can you give me an example of it when it's helped you before, or off the
Well, I think mostly about like Dungeon World, where there's actually not a name for the move, right? And it's just like you do this thing in the fiction and you're gonna roll these dice. I really like that because it stops me from thinking like, okay, I want to like have a scene where we forget about the war. And it just helps me move. It helps me think fictionally and narratively, and then like affect that through my character. It might be like just a super personal preference.
Because maybe I understand it, because for instance, the move become the war. When you become the war, roll plus longing, but roll alone. And that doesn't actually tell me what's going to trigger it. What does it mean to become the war?
Bye, Robert.
Yeah, no, cool. That makes total sense. Part of that, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Because you're using, it's like you're using the definition, you're using the word in the definition for that word, sort of. Whereas I think we don't have the intent. I guess you're giving the name, but I don't know what the intent is behind the move. So what am I trying?
Cool.
What's going to trigger it? Because if I were to pick this up and try and GM this, I don't know what would be the difference between become the war and brave the active war zone.
Well, this is not. Yeah. No, I totally dig that. No worries.
On the other hand, I think a lot of the sort of like more intimacy-based moves are really straightforward just from the names of the moves, like share what little you have, or feel them out, read a situation. I think all of those, it's really clear to me what they are.
Yeah, cool.
And maybe that is actually showing where your emphasis was.
Yeah, I mean that's something that they're definitely the ones I spent more time on. But yeah, cool. I don't want to keep you all too late, but does anyone have any other input things they thought they wanted to say?
I would definitely like to see this over more sessions.
Cool. Yeah, that was going to be like my last question is this something you feel like you got your fill of, or is this something you'd like to play again?
Yeah, I'd like to play the second session. I guess as I don't. Yeah. I've seen a one shot now, and we did a good one shot actually for the time we had, especially. But I'd like to see the next thing to see how it goes, because the scarcity hasn't come into play yet. Mm-hmm. The stash didn't come into play. And I expect what would happen is then we'd have the consequences from what happened this time. So we know that they found the school. They might think we're in the school. They might not. They might think that Sperry's house is, a location they have to search. The other two might get mad at Hack and Sperry, for like pairing off or whatnot, or the other way around. There might be some like friendship jealousy. Is like, you always give him the best stuff or whatever, and that could all.
So we saw initial consequences, but you'd like to see follow-on, and I agree. Like I'd like to see the so what's. So we've had what, then what, and I want to see the so what that comes after that.
Right, because that might also be the explanation for what's going to happen with the duos, because maybe it doesn't matter, because then you start up having the consequences from that playing into the next scenes, and so we won't be those duos anymore. We're going to be split up, or whenever we get a miss, the GM is going to do something to split us up.
Yep.
Split the party.
Yeah.
But not in the way that you usually expect it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Cool. All right. I'm a huge fan. I want to finish by saying a thank you to the 4 of you, now 3 of you, that for spending the time doing this. Like I'm so glad you got something out of it, because you really took a gamble on something that was important to me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the time that you spent. I appreciate the work that you put in, because you guys fucking smashed it. I appreciate the emotional labor, and I hope that there was some cathartic feels out of it. I hope that it meant something to you, and you'll take a bit of it away with you. I'm really stunned at how much how deep heart stuff came out of an hour of play, or an hour and a half of play. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, I hadn't thought I was playing into this, but it was getting there. I actually spent a night in a Palestinian refugee camp once during the Intifada. And so the things that are happening are very similar to that in some ways. So it's a really interesting dynamic to have play out, because there is this whole thing of, a party during a war, forget the war and get on with your life.
This is all based on my experience in the military and my personal views on refugeesism and how that kind of works, and that's why it's not a heroic thing. That's why it's not picking up arms against the soldiers, because that gets people killed. It's about being an innocent victim to something that you are not party to.
Yeah, and thanks for being vulnerable and sharing something like this game with us.
Vulnerable's my middle name. Super is. But yeah, that's and thank you so much for being a part of it. I will note down names and stuff. I'm going to send a message to the thing and just be like, hit me up with names, because you, of course, will all get playtest credits if you want them in it. Christo, you're pretty much up to co-design credit at the moment, so keep that up. I'm really grateful, and this is going to go up on my YouTube page, and I'll share you the link for that and stuff. But it's mostly just unedited. It is just unedited this. But if you'd like to watch the game again, it'll be awesome. I'm going to watch it again, so hopefully it works.
I want to see it again.
I'm just. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So next event. I always talk about next events. My next event is the August playtest. I will do an episode reviewing this playtest before I do the August playtest. And now I'm going to cease this broadcast, which means I have to finish with my dumb owl pun that I always do. So to all my owlets out there who enjoyed this playtest, please keep up with your designs. Keep on giving a hoot.